No. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Um, Welcome to the Mongol Screening Show. Woo! Sorry, I lost track thoughts there. Uh, I've been having tooth problem, so forgive me. But welcome, people. Welcome to our show. As we do it, we do it, we do it, and we do it, and we do it, and we do it, and we do it every time. And I'm so proud of the team because this show is not for Abby, it's for her friends. And honestly, everybody that is involved with the show, you guys are rock stars. Rock stars. Of course, the DJ Wiki Wiki himself. That guy, he's so coordinated. He has his own show. I haven't been able to join up because unfortunately, my health has taken a bit of a turn, so I have two carers coming in. I'm sure if you look at my face properly, you see that one side is swollen. I'll tell you all about that. Just so you know that corruption is everywhere. Corruption everywhere. Anyways, so I've not been able to take part of in the show, but I do want to see it. I know that we will fight. It is our normal thing. But I do want to see. But honestly, for Mongol Croonings, he does an amazing job. He's top notch. He's a man of his word. He said this show we will go all the way, and it really has. In fact, he has done the show more than myself. Me that I claim to be the now they do the show. I just they come talk. You understand? And Bumitela, come on, she is so invested, and I appreciate that. I am honored and humbled. Same thing with Candy, with Abby, Mr. H, Ifeanyi, who has been coming, Kayode Atawatele, who's been doing us mago mago. He'll be like, leave me alone. How did I do to you this one? To Maymoon, Joan, even though I haven't seen her in such a long time. Kai, I miss that lady. I miss her so much. You know, every single person, I'm trying to think of everything because my brain is sort of like, but every single person that is in our Agontene, every single person that comes on, really, 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 really appreciate, and even the people who are on, Facebook, who are the Abby. What are you saying? Hello on Facebook. Come and join the panel, Joe. People on YouTube, everything. Honestly, I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. And we talk about so many, 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 many important things. I mean, I've got feedback from people who say, you know what, that program you guys did, like the love languages. Hey, the feedback I got on that, like people were like, you know what? I'm looking at my love language. Someone was talking to me and she said, I didn't realize how effective the love language. Kayode told her, tell you what, I put me in trouble. She said, when Kayode said something lovely to you and you tried hard not to respond, or you couldn't help yourself, it made me realize how effective knowing your partner's love language is. That is like almost it's like the mumu button. Because I couldn't I was like, I'm not gonna laugh, I'm not gonna smile. As soon as I was like, so it's crazy. So the topics that we're doing, people are really, discussing about it, talking about it, finding things that they can apply in life. So I really, really appreciate that. Thank you guys for how you help, for every way that I mean, even today, you guys didn't know I was in bed and being stretched and all of that, but you guys hung in the gap there. We were chatting, laughing, all of that. I really, Enuka, I was trying to remember everybody. Enuka, you said you're going to join us today, so I'm holding you to it. So, what happened in the week? Of course, I always do my weekly rundown, but let me see. Mr. Ron, are you there? If you're there, please put yourself on. Um, During the week, I don't know whether I told you guys that I've been having toothache. And if you see my face, you can see it's swollen. I'm actually on antibiotics now, and all of that. But I was just having toothache, and you know, it was the trigeminal neuralgia, which was the tearing of the muscle and all of that. And then it came back, and I was like, maybe I'm using medication for it. This should just be healing. They said, "Oh, trigeminal can take up to a year or a year and a half." I was like, "You and you and who made this plan? Who is the person that made the plan with you people? You better stop." But the pain was so bad. And next thing, I don't know what happened. Say having pain in this section of my mouth, as you can see. If you look at my face, you can see it's swollen. It's more swollen than this side. And that section, and then also on this section here. And then my entire gum blew up. Ah, what's going on? So finding NHS dentist is like finding salvation. In fact, why am I saying salvation? It's like trying to enter the kingdom of heaven through the eye of a needle. It's impossible. You can't find the dentist. So I had to, pay for it. I went for emergency dentist in February. And they said, "Oh, your teeth are fine, your teeth are lovely." In fact, I wouldn't let Pam hear a word. I was like, they said my teeth lovely. I was so proud of my teeth and everything. Only to come back in, what are we now? We're now in June. So May, end of May, I cracked the tooth here across. Like it split open so you can just see the nerve. How I cracked it, I don't know, but I cracked it, sha. And I know that it has been a long time I've chopped bone because my teeth has not been really cooperating. So how I cracked it, I don't know, but I cracked it, sha. Then a hole, I drew, like they said, I drew the hole, but I was like, I didn't drill a hole. I didn't carry anything and drill it. They said, well, the way the hole is something that I caused. Sha, 130 pound, 130 pound. From where? So I carried my mouth like that, and the doctor that I saw was like, "You were the one I saw in February. I remember your face." She was like, "No, she has never seen me before in her life." Blah, blah, blah. No, 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 she doesn't know anything I'm talking about. Okay, I kept quiet. She looked at it, she said 130, 130. I said, "Okay, I have hear you. Let me go home and think about it because it's morning. And it's cracked open. So you would think that dentist would be like, okay, let me seal it because I can't eat everything. She sent me home like that. Only for day before yesterday, I was in so much pain. I was screaming and crying. So they booked me uh, emergency session with a dentist. So emergency dentist. Only for me to walk into the room. Guess who I saw? The same dentist in the private practice. Ah, so she was like, oh, okay, lie down. She barely even looked at my teeth. She was like, "Oh, you got a cracked teeth here. It's widened a bit." So I was like, "How do you know it's widened if you are claiming you don't know me?" So anyway, she was like, "Oh, you will have to go to your dentist." I was like, "But I'm here for like I'm having problems." She was like, "Well, all I can do for you is seal it temporarily." Which she could have done when I saw her the other time. Seal it temporarily, but that's all I can do for you. You have to go to your dentist because she's my dentist and she also collect her 130 pounds. Can you imagine? So I'm going to see her on Saturday, but I'm going to accuse her. I'll be like, "You claimed you didn't know me, but you were the one. And then I came and saw you. You knew that I had a crack. You could have filled it, but you didn't. Then I came to emergency and you had the nevritude, the temerity." I don't even know how to explain the bombastic, you know, the bombastic heart. So tell me I should go back to my dentist when you are the dentist. So, anyways, my people, that's why my face is like this. So, anyways, what are we talking about today? Oh God, I went and talked too much. So, yeah. Okay, so that's how the week has been. Just meeting, Onijibiti dentists. So, anyways, what are we talking about today? You know, of course, the world has been, everybody and their dog has been talking about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Now, there are several people who don't agree with me, and it's fine. I believe that discussion is for us to agree to disagree sometimes. It's for agreement and sometimes it's for disagreement. That's what discussion is. But when it came out last year that Amber Heard said Johnny Depp beat her, first I said it's a lie. I just said it's a lie. And maybe because of the kind of experiences, you will know. You will know. And when I watched that interview, I was like, this girl is lying. I could just see the but you know how it is now to open your mouth and talk that this one, especially the whole me too, everything. And me, I've always said it and I will continue to say, me, I'm an equal opportunity offender. If it's a woman that has done the wrong, I will say she's wrong. I will not say because she's a woman, I'm a feminist, therefore she's in the right. She's in the wrong, girl. If you need to jail her, jail her. She's in the wrong. And if it's a man, same thing, he's in the wrong. If he needs to be jailed, jail him. But I'm never ever going to go against a man just because he's a woman and I want to be like, Madam Feminist. I don't do that kind of nonsense. So I never believed that. And I wrote somewhere, I said, don't believe you. Don't believe you, Amber. And the case now came to America. Casala now busted. Everybody now realized that, hey, c'est la possible for a woman to torture a man. Now, both of them are as bad as each other. Johnny Depp is no saint here. But when we are talking about abuse, you see, the thing with Johnny Depp is he abused himself. But the problem with Amber Heard is she abused him. That's the difference. So we are talking today about domestic violence affecting men and women the same way. Because especially when Bumi is talking about men are not biologically one woman kiriko. You see the men hailing there, hey. But when we now talk about domestic violence does not affect the same way. You now see, you see this feminist kiriko, but let's be realistic. Biologically, you see, there's one thing you cannot change, no matter what you try, no matter how you feel, whatever kind of feeling you're feeling inside, what you're feeling inside is different from your biology. And pound for pound, a man will hit harder and in a more dangerous way than a woman would on the average. Now, we have seen some men who like big and heavy things. They look at themselves and say, yes, even though I look like a shrimp, I want to hit a lobster. They will not go and carry lobster. Lobster will not be giving them basketballs. Who is not going to rescue Mr. Shrimp? Definitely not me. Because even myself, I might not be a shrimp, but maybe I'm a little bit of a king prawn. You understand what I'm saying? I'm still nowhere in this vicinity of lobster. So you want to carry lobster. Lobster is not sitting on you. Anyways, before I say more, Ron, please join us. Where is Ron? It's not there. Ron? Ah. Okay. Panel, please join us. Bumitella, Abby, don't leave me alone. And while we're waiting for people to join, I'm sure you've noticed my.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Have you
Thank you.
finished? Have you finished? Or it remains? You know, I promise I was not going to look for your trouble. If you don't stop this thing, I will look for your trouble.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Everybody's fine. It's fine. I'm here. I'm here now. Yes. So, how are we doing?
I don't know who is deceiving you. Is it you that
Ah,
is deceiving yourself or somebody is deceiving you? But
no,
there's
I
deception
always
in
get
the land.
No, no, no. The applause is always encouraging. The way people
The
come out.
deception, there is deception in the land. Wake up. Oh.
Ah, so how you doing?
Hey, my brother, it's not a funny something, no. You heard what I was talking about what happened with my dentist. Imagine
Yeah, I was watching
you
it
charge
from
me
my monitor.
130. You charge me 130 privately, and I had to rush to NHS. They're supposed to be free. You now purposely refuse to treat me because you want me to come back to meet you to pay that 130. At least you shall put something. If you see the way I ate yesterday, because I've not been able to eat. I've not been able to eat because even she said my high blood pressure medication was the one making my gums to swell. So I had to stop taking because my gums were so swollen. You could see it as soon as you looked at me. My entire mouth like this was swollen. So I stopped taking the high blood medication, and I've not spoken to my doctor. I'm speaking to my doctor about it tomorrow morning. But I just stopped. Like, let me see. See, it's still swollen, but see the difference. If it, my gum was like this, I didn't leave my house, so because I was like, I was just sleeping because I didn't want people to see what was going on. Where did wrong go now? After all the, don't come back and make noise again, or just come in quietly because I don't know where you went. So, anyways, I don't know if you guys have been seeing my, and then I developed reaction to the medication. But anyways, maybe we're seeing my lessons from the couch where I've been talking about, you know, experiences with Yoruba diamonds, and I'll be putting a lot more out. But please, if you see it, you enjoyed it, it made you laugh, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that. So no, not subscribe. There's no subscribe. Just like, comment, and share. Chicken, that's all there is. So yeah. So Oga, run. My, how
I
was
don't know
your
what's
week?
wrong. I don't know what's wrong with my internet. It keeps misbehaving.
Eh,
Can you hear me very
because
well?
you came with plenty of applause. Even your internet was like, who is lying to this guy? Let me show him small. You see, if you are coming with the humility of a tiger, if you came in with the humility instead of arrogancy, you came with arrogancy. That's why. Be humble. Be humble.
uh, I'm just humble, just that I'm humble, just that the fans, the way they get wild when I come. So I try
Which fans?
to do
The
my fan.
computer generated fans in your computer are the ones
Oh,
that are going
do you
wild.
hear them
So
shouting?
I have here. Anyways, how was your how was your, because I promise you that I'm not going to do for your trouble. So I when I see that I'm entering the realm of me, I want to fight him, I try and move back. You understand?
No,
Because I made you a
I
promise. And I'm a
no.
woman of my word.
Where is Happy? Why is she
She's
sending us messages?
she's sitting in Facebook. Oh. She's sitting in Facebook. This I'll come to come and enjoy panel. Hmm. You better come and enjoy panel. Oh yeah, Ron. How was your week, Jerry? Yeah, me gist.
Well, I yeah, very nice week. Very. Why is all this noise coming up?
What
Okay, I had
happened?
a
What
very
happened?
nice time.
What
I had
happened?
a
That was
very nice. Well, I let's just say I had some friends visiting, from out of
mm,
town. So we were chilling. Then the winter just gave us a break for like I think it will end by Friday. So we're enjoying normal sun for now, even though I'm a winter guy, but
ah.
you know.
If you see the kind of sun that was out today, look, my hand hasn't completely reduced from it. We came out and my hands, I don't know whether I can see it. Wait,
Oh yeah, I can see it. Oh
it's
yeah,
swollen.
yeah, one of
Both of them.
those.
Can you see?
Yes, yes. Yeah, one of
Everything
those
is
who
just.
don't do well. You don't do well under the sun, right?
I don't do well under the sun at all. And
People like
my carer was like, you're Nigerian, aren't you? You should be using. I said, look, I am, but because no, me and son, mba. And I had to go out in the sun twice today. So that's why it hasn't come down because my skin was fine when I was inside the house. As soon as I stepped out of the house, within 3 minutes, boom, my hand swelled up. When you're telling people these
Wow.
things, they'll think you're making it up. They don't know that you're suffering. Oh,
Well,
that's nice.
well,
Continue now. You had
uh,
friends coming.
yeah, I had friends come over, and I just like the weather. Then, in fact, I spent a lot of time just driving around alone. Just cruising. I didn't even know it can be fun. Just they've decided to increase our petrol now, so very soon we'll be buying petrol for like almost 550 naira per liter. So
So you
instead, people
decided
are
to burn
rushing.
the one inside your car
I
cruising.
just said instead of me to follow them, I'm going to be lining up to buy petrol and to fill time. Because the thing started annoying me. Like I escaped from this thing. These village people have followed me here now.
These people are followed. It's the same thing here. Oh. They are followed everybody
They
everywhere.
have followed me here now. You see people rushing for. In fact, I'm going to even discuss this with my wife. I'm going to downgrade the car. We're going to get a 1.2-liter engine car, a small car that you drive from here to Sokoto and you will not feel. Or we switch to diesel engine because it's not for the
I don't
everybody's
drive.
really feeling it.
I'm not allowed to drive.
Everybody's
I don't
feeling it
drive.
now.
So. But I
This is
pay for it in taxi prices.
no, this is the first time I'm seeing people like South Africans. Like, in fact, there's going to be a protest about this thing I'm discussing.
But
Today
you
is
know,
the
you
6th
people
of
like to
October.
protest about everything.
No, this is the land of protest.
Ah,
If you know you're a citizen of any nation and you don't know how to protest, come to
come
South
to South
Africa for at
Africa.
least 2 weeks.
I
You
want to
learn
show
how to.
you. I hope I can do it. I want to show you my socks. I'm so proud of it. Can you see it?
Like, no, I can only see your legs.
Can
Oh yeah,
you
you
see?
made it. Yeah,
No, I bought it. It's transparent socks.
I saw. I'm seeing it now.
And it has bell. I my feet look like a baby's foot. Oh my god, why did I do that?
No, but there's the bottom. Sorry, there's the bottom part for perspiration. Like
Yes, but the
sweat
top
under
of
your
it
feet.
is top of it is transparent, and then it has bell like little bells around it.
Like me, I can't tell whether I perspire under my feet or not. I just can't tell. Sometimes I can just wear shoes without socks and it's fine. But sometimes all of a sudden I start sweating under my
But
the sole of my.
they gave me one cream that I put on my feet, just for under my feet to reduce, because with diabetes the skin thickens. So to reduce the
Oh,
thickness
okay.
of the skin. Yeah, so
They
I
tell
put it
us.
under my feet every day
Mm.
because
Where
already
is
on one
Bumi?
side of, I don't know, on one side of my leg like this, if you see it has stick in there, I'm thinking of taking it to them so they can shave it down.
I think you need to consult with your doctor before you go and see the.
No, now the doctor they talk now. I'll go to the podiatrist.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. So
Because with
where's
diabetes,
Bumi?
you have access to many things. I don't know.
She threw
Anyways, while
me.
we are waiting
She
for
threw
her
me
to
in
come,
this
all our
around the
people,
room.
I know Candy might be working, so we'll wait for her till she
Okay,
can come. Mr. H, where is Mr. H?
so Bumi's argument is that the physical ability of a man is more. Yeah, I agree that yes,
On the
if a man hit
average.
you, no, even over the average self,
Okay, let's just
men
even
will
go average.
always.
On the average, the possibility of a man's punch having more impact than a woman's punch is greater. But there
Very,
are some.
very. The last podcast I did, I was even explaining it to a lady. I said, listen, a 17-year-old, a 17-year-old can kill you. Like a 17-year-old that is well developed, or 18, a 17
Mhm.
or 18-year-old boy that is well developed. If I leave both of you in the ring, it can effectively kill you. And that tells you, and this lady was like 35. I said, and that tells you the total and complete difference in physiology. Like it's totally different.
This is what Dango Fett wrote. I want to hear more about the foot.
Django,
um, Ron and I are diabetics, so that's why we were talking about feet.
so so my cousin. My this my little my no, it's not more little. It's a big boy now. It's a big guy. I haven't seen him in a long. I haven't heard from him in a long time. So I'm surprised to see him today. Let me
Oh,
clap
this
for.
Jango Fett is your cousin. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a shout out to Django.
Django, you
I'm sure
got
he'll be
applause
wondering what I'm
without
doing.
joining forum. Ah, I will not agree. This is nepotism. I refuse.
So so basically, so I was saying something just now.
You were talking about putting a woman and a 17-year-old, a
yeah.
35-year-old woman and a
So
17-year-old in a
basically,
ring.
the physiology is totally different, and I try to tell people who try to say everything is the same. It's not the same. It's even dangerous for people to come out to say it's the. Have
Hey!
you finished eating?
Why is our applause small? Why?
Wait. Have you finished eating? Eh?
Which one of us?
Have you finished? Have you finished eating?
Yes, I finished it a long time ago.
That's how the last time she was just chopping on her own. She didn't serve food to anybody.
Oh,
We were just
talking
here
about
wasting
food.
our energy. She was just chopping and doing everything. I said, see her be, and I thought she used to be a nice person.
Talking
I was
about food.
extremely
Go on, go on, go on, go on,
I
go
was
on. I'm
extremely
excited.
hungry. I was extremely hungry on that day, and I was so passionate about the topic as well. So that was why. Apologies for just people that don't like us to eat whilst we are there, and I try to be very
Why?
um I try to be very wherever about it so that people don't notice until Ron comes to Tabi Major. Do you understand that? That until
You
Ron brought
understand?
me
Just
outside
carry that
like
outside like
a
it's baby.
yeah, like a 8 day old child. You understand?
Ah,
So how are you everyone? So good to be here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I was just
I'm so excited.
describing.
I have to show you guys. I was missing something so much that I went on, and I'm part of this group. So you think you can cook? And I went and said, guys, I'm missing this delicacy. I used to eat it when I was growing up. I'm missing it so much, and I want to make it. And I've looked online, and I know how to make it, but I don't have the pots. And a lovely lady, I've forgotten her name, but whoever, that lady, if you're watching this, thank you. I'll try and remember your name. I'll put it in the comments. She told me about this pot, and I got it. Can you guess the food I'm trying to make? Run!
Akara, akara,
Wika akara.
akara, akara, masa or buns. Those are the things you can do
Masa!
with it.
I'm going.
Uh-huh.
I have yaji in the house, so I'm going to make masa. Hey, we schooled in the north, so masa was our deal with suya. So I'm going to make masa tonight. Sorry, I was excited. I had to tell somebody. The excitement was doing me one kind.
I
Okay.
wish I was
Ah,
living very close.
ah,
Have you had it
anytime
before?
you are ready to come and visit, máa fóúnjẹ ṣe tiẹ̀,
Have
wàá
you had
jẹ́
it
jẹ́jẹ́
before?
wàá tún tún tì lọlé. Because I,
Definitely, definitely.
I love cooking for
You've
people,
had
but
it
I hate.
before.
Masa.
Is
Oh,
there
okay.
anybody in Nigeria that hasn't had masa before?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know
It
that
was
having something now connoisseur
that
of.
was growing up though. It's not something that I've had in recent times. So
Hmm.
growing up. It
Ah,
was let me make it was while growing up I usually whenever I make moi moi. So moi moi, I don't know the English of moi moi. People that like to interpret moi
bean
moi.
cake, steam bean pudding.
Main pudding, yeah.
Just so the just so that viewers in case they don't understand. So, but anytime that I make it, the beans is always coming out of the leaf. So, and that tripped me off. So for
You
nearly
put too
like
much.
almost 20, sorry,
It's because you put too much in it.
I don't think so. I just couldn't fold it without the thing leaking. That's just the
Okay.
simple whatever. And for some reason, I was just like, my hands. I'm this person that doesn't really like to do quite a lot with my hand. I do quite a lot with not hand. So anyway, and ever since I instead of that, I will opt for akara. So I can do that one myself and all of that. Then I will
Mm.
then do the one in a bag. in Nigeria they call it nylon, like a white nylon and all that.
Mm.
And I'm talking and I'm talking in the UK, right? So but I don't like it. I don't feel the vibe that I'm supposed to be feeling in
Mm-hmm. In
in
my
the
mind.
what's it called, in the moi moi, because I used the bag. They one fateful day, not too long ago,
Why
this
are you
year.
calling it in the Igbo way?
there
See?
one faith
you say
there one
you say
fateful
my
day
I
But
said my mind. Oh.
one fateful day this year, I just thought that, you know what, why not give this a try again? And I did it, and it was indeed fantastic. I was doing like a little child that just found money. And I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. This is so nice. This is so nice. Hi, hi. and and my kids, they couldn't understand why I was being so joyful. It was moi
Chaotic.
moi. It wasn't anything spectacular, but they loved it. They're like, mommy, it's even better than all the ones that were getting parties. I said, I told you, your mom is girl, she's so good. And
Abby,
ever
if
since
there's
then,
one thing Mrs. Idowu taught me how to put down,
mm-hmm,
hey, it is moi moi.
OJ, OJ. So, and if okay, for the people that don't know, this is moi moi, and mine was actually LME, like God knows what. It's more than 7 actually. So I just,
Let me
you know,
20.
like I just finished the whole thing and all that. They loved it. They couldn't wait. They said, "Mommy," and it's so interesting because all that growing up with them, I've always made akara. That's very easy for me. I just make akara. I just make akara. But now they're like, "No, mommy, don't even bother to make akara. We prefer moi moi. We prefer moi." We're like, "Oh yeah," and I don't call it beans cake or whatever that we call it.
It is
I
moi
call
moi.
it the exact name that I know that it's called.
Ron, please get a
Akara is
picture of
akara.
Massa and put up. Massa, put up a picture of
Akara
Massa.
is akara. Moi moi is moi moi. If you have your dialect that you want to call it, you can call it there. But it's not an Oyinbo food.
Kosei. I actually
Okay.
prefer Kosei to Akara.
Okay.
Even
I
though
don't know
they
the
are the
difference.
same. But there's a way that the Northerners do
it's the same
Kosei.
thing now.
No, but there's a way that they do Kosei that is different from the way we do Akara. It's the same thing,
No, every
but
every region has their style.
there's
Yeah,
a
and
lightness.
I rather we call it the name that is being called than somebody trying to look for an English name for it. And I would say it when I take it to work. Any food that I take to work and it's like an African food, they say, "Oh, is this some kind of bread and burger?" I said, "No, it's not burger. It's called
It
akara.
is
Pronounce it
Akara.
akara." You have to sound the way that I sounded like, "Oh, you are still extra." I said, "Yes, I know because an extra food, akara."
Mm-mm.
You have to pronounce it that way. It's not even just saying Accra. It's not Accra. It's ah. Say it
Hey,
ah. They're like, oh gosh.
I'm making this
Is that
tonight.
not your massa?
Oh
Is that not
no,
your
I'm
massa?
just looking
But
nice.
this one doesn't look like massa, but yeah, but this is what I'm making tonight.
Oh,
Okay.
that's really good.
But
What are you
the thing
making it
is,
with?
when I was back home, I'm making it with this pot.
No, no, no. What the context of it?
It's rice,
what's the
basmati rice. So you
uh-huh.
soak basmati rice preferably overnight before it come. Mine has been going for about maybe
I might
four
not know
hours.
what you are calling it. Maybe it's something else I was calling masa, so I might not
No,
know.
it's massa is actually rice, like local rice that
Brown
is
rice.
very
So you will
small.
soak rice, but you will boil another portion of rice.
Oh,
So
I think it's something else that I was thinking you were talking about. Not masa. I think it's mosa that I thought you were talking about.
no, mosa is
No,
how we
no, no,
Yorubas call it. It's the same thing.
Is it the
Mosa
same
is how
thing?
we Yorubas call it. Masa is how Hausas call.
Okay. I know Mosa. What's Mosa? What's
it's just
Ojojo?
rice.
Is that different? Sorry. I know
Can
this is
you
not a
see it
food
now?
show, guys. We're sorry.
Can you
Okay.
see how it's
Oh, that
made?
looks, yeah, yeah. Oh, that looks nice.
Abby, we
Now
can't
you're
hear
making me
you.
feel
You're
hungry.
muted. Abenga, we can't hear
Maybe,
you.
maybe it's a network. Sorry, it's because we are talking
Akara because
about
I'm
food.
not a
If
big fan of
I,
akara.
I'm sure, I'm sure you're wondering, like, what's these people talking? More like
Who
what
me?
some people will say. Yeah, yeah,
Who
yeah,
me? No,
yeah.
why I'm keeping quiet is you're probably the only person that hasn't eaten what they are all talking about. I grew up in the
Yeah,
north too
like
now.
I'm trying to
So
remember if I have actually. That's what I'm
so
saying. Which one
even
is Mosa? Which one is Masa?
even if you start when he scream me massa, I'm thinking about all the other things I usually enjoy. Me
Yeah, there are
Tomi
other
and
things that go
Kuka.
along with them.
Tomi and Kuka, Tomi and Taoshi,
I
all
know too
them
well because
all
I used to have a neighbor. We used to have a neighbor that they are Hausa and they
Mhm.
cook all of that. I know
Not that
tuwo
what they call
shinkafa,
it
tuwo this one and all of that.
what's this thing? There's this thing that's it's like oats, but it is my favorite thing in the north. Jesus is
Um,
Lord.
mm, is it Acha? No,
No, no
no.
acha, no acha. Kunuaya. I drink kunuaya
I,
a
And
lot.
okay,
Kunuaya,
okay.
not kunu,
is it kunu
not
aya different from kunu?
no. It's different from
Yeah,
kunu
Kunu
zaki.
is
It's
just
different
the
from
base
there's
form.
kunu is
It's
just the base form. There's kunu
Okay.
zaki.
base
There's
form.
kunu
Yeah,
aya. Kunu aya is like the
Geda, Kunu
bones.
You people should
Geda.
not
This,
take me to the north.
There's
I
kunu
refuse to
gera.
go to the north. I refuse. I refuse to go to the north.
No, but
Let's stay. Let's stay
that's
here.
interesting.
Let's stay
That's
here. Don't take me to the north because all of you will be talking the
why.
same thing now.
No, it's interesting
okay,
Sorry, I don't know
because
what
it's
happened though. I
interesting.
just
No, I'm just
No, she
okay.
joking,
was
but it's fun. It's fun to talk about
I,
food.
I was
Abby was
saying that.
asking us about food, and then
Oh,
she
I
now took
was
us to
saying that
she took
Mosa
us to the
and
north.
Masa are exactly the same thing.
The same thing,
Same
are
thing with
they?
Kose and Akara. They're the same thing.
They
It's just
are
the
okay.
way they are called differently. So Mosa is how we
Okay.
say in Yoruba. Masa is how it's said in Hausa land.
Okay.
Like the three of us actually call alubosa the same, but we call it. We say
Albosa.
alubosa. The Northerners say alubasa, and
Mhm.
Igbo say what? How do you
No,
call it?
we don't say albosa. I can't even remember what we call it.
I
Well,
think
I
okay,
honestly
but
can't
it
they
remember
is
what we
called
call
probably
it.
they
Yabas.
probably have
I think it's
Englishized it.
Yabas. No, I think
but
it's
I
Yabas or something like that. I can't remember now.
They
but
probably
Is
not call it
Ashiri
that name ever. They'll just be calling onions. Forget it.
But
it?
No,
Ashiri is
it
also a
has a
word
name.
that we have in
It has a
common.
name. Yeah, it
I
has
know
a name.
in our house we used to call it Yabas, you know. Well, we know how to
The
do some
what
over here.
what we have in common sometimes also is the ability to repeat words to mean things. When you say waka waka, all those very
But
interesting things. That's
Ashiri is
the
a word we have in
actually say what
common.
there. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Ashiri in your language
Even
is
amebo
secret.
means same thing. Yes, yes.
But in the north and in the south, it means yeah, it means secret. But in Igbo land, it means gossip, isn't it?
It yeah.
Same same, different variants.
It's the
It's different variants of the same word. So we are all
Yeah.
like
children
you
of the
said.
same mother. So I don't understand why we keep fighting. Ah.
We just don't worry. We like to fight. Like you said, you were just telling me. Abby was asking about food. There are certain things. Dabu nama, all those
Hey,
You people
dabino,
should
all
not take
those.
me there. Don't take me. Don't take me. Don't take me. I refuse to go to
okay.
the
And,
north.
I wish I
and you
could
know,
take you back to Jos, where I
you
grew
know,
up, where I
you know
was
the
from
funny
a
thing.
child to a
See,
I know
teenager.
we are going there. That's why I say don't go there. Don't go. Let's stay within.
okay,
Hey,
Let's be neutral. Let's stay middle bed. Eh?
yes,
Neutral, neutral. Yeah.
you think that suya that you've eaten in Lagos is suya? It is
Nah.
You see
nonsense.
what I mean, Faye? You see what you have done. You see what you have done. You're
No, but
taking Abby to that lane.
but also at the same time too, you know suya, but you've eaten balango, right?
You see, you have
Yes.
started.
So that's the when you start to eat all those the fermental ones, that's when you now realize okay,
I
And
know,
when you
I,
but
now add,
and that's the beauty of it, though. That's
there's
the beauty
food,
of it.
there's food.
One thing about food in my house here,
Hmm.
um, everything that we cook, aside from a bit of pizza occasionally, a bit of chips occasionally, and all of that, but is basically African.
mm.
African beans, African yam, this one, that
You
one.
see the things
And
that you're
so,
calling. There are certain things I like to eat. There's one thing I'm craving so bad. Anybody in the atmosphere that is hearing me and you can provide it, I will love you forever.
what is it?
Menshanu. Menshanu.
Aye.
I
okay,
don't
that's
even know what the
local.
English for it. But when you put menshanu on anything, it is
It's
Mm-hmm.
delicious.
local cheese. It's local cheese.
Yes,
Oh, local
local
It
cheese.
cheese.
Okay.
is,
Mm.
but there's a way they do it with the oil and everything. It is so
Mhm,
delicious.
mhm,
So
mhm.
that
So, and
then
that's the
I
beauty.
crave, I crave yam pottage, but the way Igbo people do it with the vegetables and everything. Yoruba people
But you
don't know how
can
to
do
cook yam
So
that
pottage.
there is,
though.
so
No,
there
no, no,
is,
no. There
so there
is.
is,
There
No,
is.
no, no,
There
no,
you
no.
let
can
me
I'm
learn.
telling you, when you eat Igbo yam pottage, you'll be like, ah, I
Take
shall be
the
chopping
things to take
nonsense.
out they are doing. No, just take it. See, one thing about food is that I remember my mom coming out from one Igbo friend's house one day, and she's like, "Oh, mommy," she just said, "Oh, we go periwinkle." They gave her this and all that. All she did was just it wasn't YouTube days. So all she did was just that. Tell us how to cook it. And I was the one that went to the shop to get all of those ingredients and
Oh,
all of that. We
if it's
might not
not original, it cannot be.
wait
there's a
now. We might not be
there's
able to
a
get the we might not be able to get the
I I understand
exact
what Abby. I
whatever,
know
but
what
we'll have a look alike. It's like taking Coke
I
and
understand.
Pepsi.
No,
Look
but that's the thing.
alike
I
in
understand what
me,
Abby
it
is saying.
cannot be
See, I understand what
original.
Abby is saying. I understand what Abby is saying because when you tell me yam porridge, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Is it yam, new yam, water yam, cocoa yam, three-leaf yam?
Shango.
So that when I start with that one, I'm going to ask
All
you a few
yams
What
are
did
questions.
I
in
do?
Igbo land. All yams are not the same.
They're not the
All
In
yams are
Igbo
same,
not
land,
the
all yams
same.
are not the
and
same.
it's not
People are
every
too
And
time
they
you
have
foodie.
do it
different
like
colors
that.
and
So
textures
They are
yeah,
too
and
I'm
food.
foodie.
telling you,
there's a
you will eat
difference.
yam like
There's a
this, you'll be
difference.
like, na
You will
yam
not
be
know which
this.
one it is. And
So
there's
maybe I should start looking
And
for
Hey,
an Igbo
like my house.
boyfriend though.
It's
why
like
do
and
you
we
think
know
I
how
want to
to
marry an
harvest
Igbo
them
man?
differently.
Maybe I
it's
start
like
We
looking
my
for
know
an
how
house.
to
Igbo
harvest
boyfriend.
them.
Although I already have a boyfriend. So what should I do
It's
now?
like
Dear
it's
boyfriend,
No,
please, if you are watching,
you people should stick with your cocoa for the meantime so that we figure out how to
No, me,
sort
I've
these
always
things out.
pledged my love for
I'm
the
dear
Igbo
boyfriend,
man. No,
please. I'm
you
sorry.
cannot
I'm
switch
sorry.
me
These
and that.
foods that they are talking about. Should we have a
it's
re? Should we?
so it's always good.
You know,
Like for
I'm trying
during
instance,
to
I
during
know
the
that for
outings,
Saturday mornings, like Saturday mornings when I was growing up, it was water yam. Now the just how water yam
mhm,
it goes down smoothly. It is like porridge. But then when you now add stockfish to it, you add all those secret things that I find in something that is
What
just
did
like
I do? The only thing I
what the
did this
hell?
evening was
yeah,
to talk
now
about
because they
moi
use water
moi.
yam
Is
for that.
enough, guys. Can we focus? Focus. Focus. Don't make me start feeling like I need to eat.
let's not
Okay,
go
let's
south south.
focus. Oh yeah, let's stop
Let's not
because
go
we
south
forgot
south
to.
and Calabar.
Let's not go south
Let's not
south.
go south
No
south and
south south.
Calabar.
No
This
You
one
south
is
see
south.
what
okay.
it has started?
It's another different cuisine. You go
Run,
south
stop
south,
it.
even me
Because when
I
I said
know.
we should talk about Sakpa and adult,
I think, I
because this would
think,
have
I
worked
think,
well.
I
Mhm.
think there should be a day when we are going to talk about food. Actually, just a
And
relaxed.
don't
Okay,
worry,
fine.
if
Um,
it's food, I am
We'll come.
ready. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
when we
Let's
are just
talk. Let's
Okay.
relaxed.
talk.
So
Yeah.
So,
let me
does
finish
domestic
my thought.
violence affect men the same way? Same men and women the same way? Now, first of all, we grew up in a culture where men couldn't talk about being abused, and many
Mm.
many times they were abused. We watched them be. A lot of us grew up watching our fathers or our uncles and things like that being abused, but it was normal to us. It was normal because the kind of abuse it was that we witnessed was usually verbal, verbal
Mhm.
abuse, psychological abuse. Yeah. Useless man, he has come again. Kiniko, and we saw our neighbors. So unfortunately, some of us, we saw our parents go through that. We saw, so like you see, and like how Ron is always quick to judge those men and say, oh, they are simps. But when you grow up in a culture where you are not allowed to express that you're hurting, number one, because anytime something happens to you, come on, suck it up, boys don't cry. So already you're told you're not allowed to cry, you're not allowed to express. Now unfortunately, some men will actually take out their expression in physical violence against whoever it is that is hurting them, while for some other boys, because they grew up in a home watching their mother being pummeled by their dad, they vowed never to touch a woman. Unfortunately, somehow those men then end up with women who dominate them either physically, psychologically, or emotionally.
Mm.
And we saw a lot of these men go through this burden. That's why beer parlors were very, very popular in Nigeria. Because instead of the man coming home, you just go to the beer parlor and go and drink and be like, I beg. I just hope that woman is asleep before I enter the house, because they are doing everything to get away. So that abuse is not a new thing. It's been ongoing. It's been there for a long time. But of course, with westernization, with people traveling around, with people saying, "Oh, you know what? This is not right. This is abuse." Like even sometimes when you yell or you watch a video of a kid being naughty and saying, you know, rude things to the parents, and the parents going, "Oh, Ebony, oh, don't be rude to mommy. Okay, go sit down in your naughty corner." We all collectively make this sound. Because we know how we grew up, that even if the thought, like how many me, I know that I will be with my mother maybe outside and a kid will misbehave and I'll get smacked. Like, don't let it enter your head to misbehave like that kid. I'm like, I've not even said I want to misbehave, but
No, no,
already
no.
I am.
Just so the demon doesn't get into you. It's just to beat you first, so that it comes in the
So that
demon
the
doesn't
demon
get.
of the misbehavior does not enter me. She will beat it out of she will beat the space that it could occupy. She will beat it out of me so that there's no space for it at all. But now, if anyone saw that, they'll be like, "That's abuse. Your kid didn't do nothing. Why did you beat them?" But for us, it was the way that we were brought up, and for us, a lot of us, we still believe that's the way to bring up these modern day terrorists that are coming up in the name of children. So it's the same thing, abuse with men and women. Of course, with women is more prominent because one, men are stronger, so their punches have more impact, their slaps have more impact. They usually are the ones with financial power, so again, that impact of abuse is felt. Who's talking about senator here?
Is it if I check your laptop?
Well, I'm
Okay.
checking it.
Eh,
I'm sure.
Are you
so
watching
you know
channels?
I'm not even watching. I don't know how it came up. I'm looking for what channel is on
No,
or
no
whatever
worries.
device is
So,
on.
that that has been ongoing for a long time. A long time. It's not anything new. What is new is that men are coming out now to say, "I'm being abused." Or men will have interventions by their family or by their friends saying, "Dude, in case you are not recognizing it, you are actually abused." And they go, "Oh, am I?" Because I've had a conversation with a guy who I saw his girlfriend constantly just hitting him at every opportunity. They'll be talking, pa, and it's not like, "Oh, those payful taps," like serious baga. Where the guy be like, ah. But when I spoke to the guy, he was like, "She hits me. I didn't notice." I was like, you better let that love calm down small in your eye and open your eyes and your ears. You are being smacked at every opportunity. And if you don't stop to it now, by the time you get married, she go they knock you with chair.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
That's
Bobby.
His
Welcome to
name
the
Welcome,
is
show.
welcome.
Thank you.
welcome.
So this abuse, I'm just quickly rounding up there. Of course, people can speak. So this abuse has been there for a long time. It's not new. It is not a new thing. It is westernization and the whole feminist movement, or whatever people, toxic one, non-toxic one, that everybody that is now making people come out and speak. And of course, we now know with the case of Johnny Depp, is basically someone put out a meme and said the one man that's had an argument with a woman and won. Like he's the
In
first
history,
guy, you know. And he was, and I think the thing that was for him was she actually taunted him and said, "Go on and say I hit you. Who is going to believe you?" And unfortunately, that is the case with many men. They get beaten by their partners, they get derided by them, they get abused, they get mocked, and they can't say anything because, again, that whole manly thing of, how am I going to go and stand outside as a man and say my partner, a woman who is obviously weaker than me, is abusing me? Now, as I said earlier, much earlier, both of them, as far as I'm concerned, are as bad as each other. The difference is Johnny is abusive towards himself, but Amber is abusive towards Johnny. But they're both people who need help. They need Jesus. So Floor's open, guys. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so
Guys,
this
Let's start with Abby
Bumi.
because she came on first.
No,
Abby,
no. I'm happy to allow the distinguished
okay.
intellectuals to start
If
first.
would you give Bumitela the opportunity?
Oh me, I'm not going to say anything. I don't
Okay,
fight or
Bumi,
quarrel.
then the
Yeah.
Okay,
floor is
Bumi,
yours.
the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you
The
guys. Nice
floor
to be
and
with
the
you again.
views are yours.
One moment.
I actually brought up the topic because I really wanted to know what you guys thought about a certain perspective. Now, like I I am this isn't really just about Johnny and Amber. Like what Abby just said about Johnny. My what I know is that Johnny's actually the one who was violent, and this last case was about defamation. It wasn't about violence, but there's no way for us to prove who's right or who's wrong about that right now. But everything else Abby said is spot on, in my opinion. A lot of men are abused, and they cannot talk about it because they're stigmatized. We live in a world that will ridicule men for being weak, for being for showing emotion, for showing any kind of humanity. So it makes it, a double-edged sword for them to even tell anybody. But it's like humiliation twice. First at the hands of the woman, and then at the hands of society, who will not take you seriously.
Child.
So I agree with Abby there. But here's the thing, and the reason I wanted to bring this up. I believe that I know for a fact that men and women are biologically different. And when I speak about this, especially with guys, when it comes to sex, no one argues this point. When we say that the way that we're built for sex is different, but men are very happy to accept that. But then for some reason, when it comes to domestic violence, everybody wants to act like we're equal. And I think that's really dangerous. We know for a fact that, for example, that men die at the hands of women die at the hands of men more than any other cause of death. In fact, there are some statistics that say that men is the number one cause of death for most women, whereas for men it's heart attack or something. Men are very dangerous to women.
wait. Heart attack is what? Wait, in
The
other
number
words, heart
one
attack.
cause of death for
What
men
does
is
heart
heart
attack
attack.
mean? It means women wahala. That's what heart
That
attack means. Heart attack is a
that
euphemism for women problem.
well, we did not
Okay,
physically
you are
touch you.
testing my agreement not to fight you, but I will keep
Okay,
my
okay,
mouth
okay,
shut.
okay, 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 okay. Continue, continue.
She didn't touch you. That means you should learn to pray, meditate, leave bad toxic relationships if
Mm.
you're gonna to avoid dying of a heart
But
attack. But
but
women
but,
are
we,
actually killed
but
by.
what do you think? What do you think we had been doing before we got to heart attack? You think we were not meditating and praying? We just woke up in the morning and just had broken heart syndrome and died? Are you really serious?
I mean, jokes aside, women exist to help men, whereas a lot of times that's not how men don't exist to help women. Women literally have to serve men to get a slice of the pie, and if they're not willing to serve men, they suffer all kinds of things you men can't even imagine: abandonment, neglect, ostracization.
You know,
But let's not
you
even
know
go
what?
into
You know
that.
what? I love you, Bumi, but you know why I love you? You see only one side of the rail, and I'm
Okay,
glad I'm in this topic
what is
to show you the
going
other side
on?
of the rail.
What is in the water right now? I thought that this was a settled matter, that we already understood that we live in a
It's not
man's
it.
world,
Nope,
and
nope,
it's
nope.
skewed towards men.
Remember that each time you sing the song, this is a man's world.
No, 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 no. It's fine. This is a fact.
what was the last line of
We
that
do
song?
not. Do you
What was
know
the
what?
last
Okay,
line of that song? What was the
I don't
last
want.
line of that song?
I
Whenever
don't
you
want
sing
to.
The James Brown popular, this is a man's world. What was the last line of that song? But
That
it
is
is
a song. I'm
nothing
not talking about the
without a woman.
song.
No, hold on. We grab that euphemism and say, okay, it is a man's world. But we never think about what he said at the end. It is nothing. It's jack shit without a woman. So when Ron was talking about it, Ron said half the time we die. In fact, I was excited about this topic because half the time we die 1,000 times before you see
Okay,
us
okay,
die.
okay, okay,
So
okay.
you have no
Hold.
idea.
No, no. That is completely irrelevant right now. Because
Really?
there's no way for me to go and ask every single man, is the biggest problem in your life women? But what we do know for a fact, what we can prove, is that we live in patriarchal societies that play to men's strengths. We live in a man's world. That forget James Brown. This is not a joke. We live in. If we cannot even agree on that, then what's the point of us discussing?
Let's
Wait,
talk
in fact,
about
you
progressive.
don't
No,
know that. You don't
hold on. Let's
understand
talk
that we live
about
in a
progressive.
patriarchy and what it
Let's talk.
means.
Hold on. Let's talk about progressives. Let's pick the patriarchy and say, for years we've been living in a patriarchy. Right now, do we really live in a patriarchy? Can we ask
Of
ourselves, have we gone
course.
forward or not? Okay, let me ask you this simple
Forward to where?
statistics. If a girl and I graduate from university, who gets a job first?
Most likely the guy.
Most likely who?
Hi, Candy.
Most likely the
Yay,
guy.
No, no,
That's
not
what
Candy.
the
true.
statistics say.
Not true. Not true.
No,
Not true.
what? No, don't
Not true.
argue facts now. Most
Not
likely
true.
the
No,
guy. What
I'm
the fuck
serious
are
now.
you
Not
talking
true.
about?
If hold on, if I walk into
Oh
an
my god,
interview,
you're gonna get me
in fact, I
frustrated. You
just
see,
hold
we
on
can
now.
have
I just
different
walked into
opinions,
one.
but we
Hold on now.
cannot
I just
Let
negate
walked
facts.
into.
It is a fact that men have more access to a job than women. Do you know why? If I do you want me to explain it to you? Because I think Nigeria really makes you people mad. Things are so upside down over there
I hate to
that
say
you
I
you
hate
Ifeanyi,
to
think
let
say
that
her
I hate to
speak
say it, but it's not
now.
Nigeria.
yeah, please, I'll listen to you when you're done. Here are some facts. One, we live in a patriarchal society, which means men have more power, more influence, and more money. Okay, so they control the world that we live in. That is a fact. That is an undisputed fact. If two people graduate today, the man will get the job first. Because that's what it means to live in a patriarchal society. Because who's going to be doing the hiring? Men. Who are they going to be more comfortable with? Men. That's why we actually needed laws to say that things need to be more equal. You have to hire women. You have to hire gays. You have to hire. You can't discriminate against Islam, against people based on religion. Why would you bring up those laws if it was fair? Before that, it was just men. Go and look at any newspaper, magazine right now. Go online. Go and look at the WEB event, the World Focus event. Go and look at any summit, any place in the world right now where power is gathered. It's mostly men. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is not up for debate. We live in a man's world. That's just a fact. I don't understand this sudden pushback that it's coming from men just because we had a Me Too movement. Jesus Christ, you people want to just step on our back forever? One little thing that we had for ourselves, and now you people are fighting constantly as if we've taken over the whole fucking world. It's unreal. What the fuck is going on? If I challenge everything you just said because it is actually not factual. It is not
Jesus is
factual.
Lord.
You cannot bring. You cannot just make up your fucking
Run,
facts.
stop.
You can't just make up your facts. So
I
we
want
can talk
Bubi to
about
cool
that if you
down.
want.
Can you see the steam coming out of your car? Can you see
Absolutely.
the
How do you
Like,
call
steam?
I
it?
can't believe
How do you
he
how do you call it?
said
How do you call
this
it? How do you call
shit.
it? How do you call it? How do you call it? But when I argue, the one thing you hear about me is I'm very, very, very careful with my words because I educate. And part of the things that I'm very careful about it is when I talk. It's like asking these questions for anybody here. I would like us to read a book called Factfulness. It changes a whole lot of the things. If I ask you this question, I would like you to be able to answer. If you can answer, what percentage of boys to girls do you think finish elementary school in the whole world? What's the
We don't have
percentage?
to. We don't have to think. We
Hold on,
know.
Bumi.
We know.
What
Somebody
do you know?
can
What do you
Google it
know?
right now.
What do you know? You
Stop,
can
stop,
Google it,
stop,
but if
stop
you
making
Google
up
it,
facts. Stop
hold on
talking
now,
about
hold
fringe
on.
things.
But if
You
you
can't talk
Google it,
about
but if
one
you
book
Google it,
that
but
Wait,
hold on,
that is
he has
hold
to
on.
against
follow
what
because
everybody else is saying.
Jesus is Lord.
You're
Bumi,
talking about
listen
fringe
and
things. You read
Google.
one
No, no,
book.
I'm not talking about
Come
fringe
on,
things.
in
I'm
a
talking
public
about that.
debate, if I let's be
Oh,
intelligent
jeez.
people. In a public debate, we have
In
to
a
stick
public
to
debate, I picked
what
up
is
something.
tried and
Hold on.
tested, not what you personally think. You can tell us, I know
Ah,
this is what
jeez.
is conventional wisdom, but this is how I feel about it. Because if you start challenging conventional
I'm
wisdom, this is
challenging
what makes me think I'm
conventional
crazy.
wisdom because conventional wisdom has proven that you don't realize that without knowing it, over time, almost the same equal amount of boys and girls finish school. Almost
That
the
is
same equal amount
complete
of boys and
bullshit.
girls.
First of
Hold on,
all,
because it's there. It is there. It's just that you haven't asked the questions. If I ask you how many species of animals are distinct, you will tell me it is known that the lion is going extinct. But that's not it. Conventional wisdom has moved, that we've moved from where you were standing. What we're saying is not that it's different. We're just saying that if we re-ask these questions of our present places, we'll realize that we might not know. We might have just been assuming. For instance, it's always very interesting that you pick the 1% of people that run the entire world and say men run the world. It's 1% of men that run the entire world. That's not a 90% of men that run the whole world. It is interesting to see that because it's the 1% that are that rich. So if we have 1% of women that are that rich, and I say women run the world,
What are you
is that a
arguing
good
right now? That
generalization?
men don't run the world?
My
Ifeanyi,
Are you arguing that
argument
men
is
don't run the world?
simple. Hold on, my
okay, wait,
argument
Because
is
guys.
I'll
simple.
just step back from
Oh
that one
God.
because I'm not going
Wait,
to argue for
guys,
No,
that.
wait.
Bumi, my
Okay, let
argument is
Okay.
simple.
everybody
My
calm
You're
argument
not
is
going
down.
to
simple.
argue
Wait.
for that
My
I'm
gravity
argument
going
is
to
thing.
simple.
mute
That
the
I
two
You're
of
cannot.
not just
you.
going to.
Ron,
My
please
argument
help
is
me mute
simple.
them.
Oh
Let me
God.
say something. Okay, guys. Now, if I listen to your arguments, if I because I'm listening, you're saying because it's 1% of men that rule the world, to say that men rule the world or that they run things is wrong. But if the gender of the people running things are the same, then it doesn't matter whether they're 1% or they're 20. They are of that gender, isn't it? Then let's put that aside. Let's put that aside. You asked a question. You said if a girl and a guy should come out of uni together, who will get the job first? Now, you have to put several things into consideration before you can answer that. What did the girl come? Wait now. What did the girl come out
Abby,
of it?
Abby,
Because
Abby, Abby,
wait,
if
wait,
you put
wait.
several things into consideration, so why is it that I'm saying to the same argument, put certain things in consideration. Don't make those general statements anymore. These things are
Okay,
changing.
wait,
They are no
wait.
longer
But
how it was.
I'm
That's what
trying
it
to
is.
answer your question. Wait.
What?
You
Oh
said
God.
if a guy and a girl come out of uni, it's down to what did the guy and the girl come out of uni with? Is it first class? Is it third class? Then who do they know? Because unfortunately in Nigeria, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So if the boy's father is in the military and the girl's parents are in Dokpemu, the guy will most likely get the job first. And if
No,
it's
but
reversed, the
but
girl will
listen,
get the
listen to
job
some, listen
first.
to something.
So
Listen to something.
that
In
variable
Bumi's
is
in
really
Bumi's
not.
place. Wait now, in Bumi's place. If I put it back in where Bumi is coming from, when it was patriarchy, it was simple. When a girl and a guy comes out of school, the guy gets the job. We have
It's
moved
still
on to the point
patriarchy
where you
though.
are. Hold on. We have moved on to the point where you are now saying it now depends on the certain factors. And I'm saying, even if you pick the 1%, we still are going to move on to the point where we are beginning to see certain factors. And those factors are very, very funny, but they're true. A good example is you just wrote something. Does domestic violence affect men and women the same way? Up until recently, men would die than agree that they had domestic violence. In fact,
Yeah.
there's certain that I saw. In fact, let me show you one that I saw that I will never believe. Imagine if your friend tells you that, oh boy, I beg, you have to claim that you gifted me this laptop so that madam will not complain. And then he goes the
That,
second day and says, oh boy, I beg, please, this shoe, you have to just tell her that it was my birthday gift so that madam will not say anything.
how is that
By the
abuse? That's not
hold on,
abuse.
hold
What
on,
the fuck are you
hold on,
talking
But that's
about?
hold on,
Sorry,
financial. That's
hold on, hold
financial.
on.
That could be
sorry to
financial
interject.
That's the
abuse.
Actually,
thing
you
because you
guys,
don't see it.
I have to
Okay,
leave because
let's wait. Let Candy say something.
sorry, I gotta leave. Lincoln is sick. I have to go pick him up from daycare.
Oh my days,
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
So I have to go get
Sorry,
him.
love.
Thanks. But I'll try to catch you guys
Sorry
later.
about that.
Brother
Oh,
Sorry
Candy.
about that.
sorry, yeah. Our love and
Okay,
kisses,
okay. When
yeah.
Ifeanyi's done, I want to respond. Good luck,
So,
Candy. Keep
All
me
right,
my,
posted.
my,
bye.
my, my point is
Let
simple.
us
We
know
can
how it goes,
those
yeah.
measurements and those metrics, in as much as you can say yes, it's a man's world, is that let's be careful that this metrics is changing and let's challenge these metrics. If we are going to say this is what it is, fine, challenge it with today. It's like the same way you
But the
said, okay, can
metrics
we
haven't shifted that far. That is the point. The metrics haven't shifted that far. Look at how far it's taking America to have a female vice president. The metric hasn't shifted that far. We still don't have a woman holding anything tangible in Nigeria. Look at all the people coming out to come and contest for presidency now. How many women have
Okay,
we heard? Do they even take them serious? The metrics hasn't shifted that far at all for us to say, oh,
sorry. Anybody that has statistics can just forward it to me through the private chat.
don't worry.
All right, can I?
us to
Bumi,
start
if you,
saying, oh,
Bumi,
let's
if
start
you
looking
have
at
your
us.
send,
Coming.
I'll send
sorry,
everything to
Bumi,
you. Don't worry. I'm a data analyst for a living. On top of all the,
uh,
I don't
no,
remember
no,
what
no.
my
If you
name.
guys send it to me, I'll post them all here. so
Thank
that
you.
we
I
all can
will.
see.
Can I
So,
respond to? I'm fine.
there are people
When you're
who,
done,
any
Abby.
man that comes out, there are people who, any man that comes out and says, oh, okay, now you are talking about your friend. Oh, please, this laptop, oh, if madam talks and you're looking at him. Now, that's the difference between men and women. Because if a woman came to her friend and said, please, this bag, when my husband asks, you are the one who gave me, the friend will go, what's going on? Is why are you afraid to buy bag? You can't buy bag with your own money again. What's going on there? What nonsense? But men will be like, okay. And so is that whole thing of that support that we give ourselves as women, unlike men who will just be like tight-lipped about the whole thing. I was reading a joke recently about a man who came home after a long night, and he told his wife, oh, I've been at my friend's house, I spent the night there. And she called 10 of his friends, and 5 of them claimed that yes, he had just left, and 5 said, oh, he was still sleeping and they didn't want to wake him up. So again, instead of going, why are you checking his whereabouts? When he comes home, he comes home. What's the problem? That kind of thing. It's like cover up immediately. We haven't moved that far from the usual narratives when it comes to how men deal with themselves and how they deal with women and how they deal with society, to start saying, oh, let's measure it by the movement. The shift is minuscule. So that's the
Well
problem there.
said. Well said. Can I also add, and this is important. Sometimes when we talk about these things, we tend to forget that it's a big fucking world out there, right? We make these general statements and they don't apply. Like what Abe said. Even you, if I you were trying to you hinted at it that it depends on circumstances, depends on circumstances. But before we dig into circumstances, you have to stick to the overall number. I'm pretty sure if you go to some parts of Lagos, women probably get jobs faster than guys because all the guys want to fuck them or whatever. But is that the general? Situation worldwide? No, you understand? And so it depends on what part of the world we're talking about. In the Middle East, women aren't even allowed to work in certain places. Whereas in the US right now, there's a trend where women are actually more educated than men, and women are suddenly doing really well. You
I
understand?
was
So if
about.
we're going to talk,
I
if we're
just saw
going to
that statistics now that women are more educated. I just saw it
yeah,
now.
listen, don't you people should know me by now. I'm not here to just side women just to side with women. Everything I know and talk about is based on actual facts. And you can try to sway me, but it has to be based on facts, not fringe stuff, not things you observe, because you can never observe more than
No,
people
no,
who have
but
studied and taken
here's
numbers.
the thing, right? But here's the
Well,
So
thing,
if
right?
I
hold on,
let her
if I
Here's the
finish,
thing
finish,
for
then you
me.
take
Here's the thing for
over.
me. Here's the thing for me. But
hold on.
if we add this thing to the same thing you're saying, you always put it in that in certain parts of US, and again you're bringing the conditional statement under certain
If I
conditions.
please don't
Still
let me
same
be done
thing.
because you're interrupting with very annoying points right now.
No vex, no vex. If I did
Like,
minutes, oh yeah,
no,
oh yeah,
you know
finish.
what he's doing, Ify and a lot of these men? It's the fact that there are some changes happening. And depending on where you are in the world, what kind of lifestyle you live, who you are, the change is probably great to you. And it's very easy for you to think that, oh, because it's so great to you, look, women are taking over, women are this, everything is going well for women. But that's not accurate. Not if you take a worldwide look at the matter. Now, if we want to say that, okay, let's talk specifically about black people, or specifically about Nigeria, or specifically about America, then the story may change. But if we're speaking generally at this point, globally speaking, women are still at the bottom of the fucking totem pole. They have a second class citizen. That has not changed at all. It's changed marginally. Abby is absolutely right about that. No matter how it looks to you, especially if you're middle class and educated, where most of the changes are happening, it hasn't changed for the people in Pakistan. It hasn't changed for the bush people, for local people in Nigeria. It hasn't changed for any of them. Everything is still the goddamn same. And even amongst us educated people, the change is very cosmetic. It's very cosmetic. And here, let me explain this to you. A lot of times when we talk about things like, or at least now, Abby was just saying that we have our first female VP. Look at these females: Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton, Margaret Thatcher, Margaret Albright. These women are barely women. They have male characteristics. They got there by displaying male characteristics, masculine traits. being combative, being competitive, being confrontational. These are the traits that got them to these positions. So they are women in name only. It's not like somebody tells me right now. You see that women's traits are there. Women's traits of collaboration, of networking, of trying to do things. We won't have all these words. We won't
Abby,
have
I
these.
think your thing is echoing. That's why she thinks she's been interrupted.
Sorry, yeah, exactly. I mean, we won't have all these words. We won't have this massive inequality, all the stuff that we have. Even though it looks like women are getting to the top, which is another matter altogether. But I'm just trying to say that these changes are so small, and if you ask any historian, they will tell you that it's one of the most confounding things in human history. How men have managed to subjugate women almost everywhere on the globe since the beginning of time. There's been like maybe two or three matriarchal societies. So you can't so therefore you cannot stand there and say, oh no, you're wrong. Women are doing well, women are doing better, no. Yeah, there may be some anomalies, there may be some exceptions, there may be some outliers, but and we can speak about that. But generally speaking, that is not the case, and it's an insult to us for you to say that. Which was the
Can I
point of
ask a
this
question?
yes.
Okay, now are we looking into women being in position of authority or just
No,
women having
we
the
haven't
same
even
thing?
talked about anything. I wanted to ask you people because you can't got me so fucking pissed off saying
No, I'm
that
just
I was
asking
doing
a
better than
question.
men. I'm still
I'm
waiting.
trying to get.
What is going on
Cool
with you
down.
men?
If you cool it down for Ifa, he means no harm.
It's fine. Sorry if I probably took it out on you because I've been getting this pushback from so many men. Like the world has suddenly done a 360 and women are getting free money from somewhere or something. Like what the fuck? There's nothing. Nothing has
There's
really
nothing
fundamentally
free. They
changed.
walk on their back or on
Nothing
their
has
knees.
fundamentally changed for women at all.
You think
Can
that
I ask the
because that girl
question?
got that job, wait, you think that because that girl got that job, you think that, oh, she just did that, she's on her back or on her knees. I went to Asha's concert on Saturday and she was talking about, that, that she's looking for a man and everything, this one like that. But, you see, if she wants to be with the kind of man that she thinks she deserves, that she has to walk plenty on her knees and on her back. And she was like, I have to be doing a lot of, and she was doing like this, and everybody was laughing. So if someone like Asha, who has plenty money, international artist, is saying for me to get the kind of man I want, or the kind of man I think I deserve, my knees and my back go here am. Then talk about ordinary me and you. We're in no position, man. So
Okay,
yes,
sorry.
Ron, yeah.
Back to my question. So now, are we looking at more women being in position of authority or more women having exactly the same opportunities a man have?
There's been a difference in both things, and it's a good thing, and we thank God. I'm not denying that there's been some progress, but it is not. It's negligible in terms of the global population. It's negligible. There are
Is
some societies, even like a society like America, which is so seen as the most modern of all societies. Are we equally represented? If you go and look in Congress, is it 50-50? Rwanda is literally the only country that has that. And do you know why? Because of war. Because they literally killed a million fucking men. There was nobody else. They had no choice but to allow women to be there 50-50. You understand? And maybe Norway and Denmark. That's it. The rest of the world, it's the same shit. It's predominantly men in positions of
Yeah,
power, in maybe decision makers.
but there's this
sorry,
thing about
if they weren't the outliers, if they weren't the all the time, if it was a normal thing, women, we can name one. Okay, if there are 150 something countries in the world, at least 120 have had female presidents. So what is the new thing there? But we can't say that. Why do you think that today you find companies saying, oh, they want to create all women companies because to give more women opportunities? Because it's not just a woman getting a job. Because when a guy gets a job, he goes and starts the job. But when a woman gets a job, especially, and I'm going to stick with Nigeria that I know, that I was in, because at a point I used to work with a production company that worked with NTA2 Channel 5. It got so bad they got me a bodyguard. He was my namesake. They got me a bodyguard because I could not walk into an office to come and contract business and hope to come out the same, because every single one of the managers either wants to keep me as a mistress, either wants to fuck me, either wants to, it is always one thing or the other. They had, so every time when we walk into the office, like, tell this big guy to go. I'll be like, I'm sorry, company orders, he can't leave. So we lost a lot of business that way because I couldn't give them what they wanted. And because I couldn't give them what they wanted, they refused to give me what I needed.
She's not lying. That's
Okay,
actually why I left Nigeria. Because I could tell
okay,
that if I wasn't willing to fuck my boss, fuck my lecturer, fuck my this, fuck my that, they would never let me grow. They would never let me blossom. I had to get the hell out. So when you see women who are doing well, you don't know what the hell they've had to do in that
one
Lagos and Abuja to
sorry,
get to those positions.
one more thing. So, you do realize that there are women who founded banks in Nigeria. Like there's one they just celebrated today. Was
I'm
it
not
on?
disputing that some women have achieved
I'm
things
coming.
and
Yeah, no, I'm coming. There are women captains of industries. What I mean by this is that they are actually on top of the pyramid for employment. Yet they don't employ women the way you want men to employ women. Record
because
labels.
there are not that many
Record.
women available for them to employ like there are men.
No, I'm not even
It's
talking
not
about forget. Delete the men from the equation. I'm not even talking about men. I'm like these are women who own very huge companies. Yet there's no representation of women in those organizations. That's what I'm saying.
May
There are
I
two
may I say
reasons, but let
something?
Abe go first.
Let me
There are two
respond to
possible
that.
reasons for that.
When did these women start getting recognized and having the opportunities to set up this thing? Was it 40 years ago? How many
No,
years
this one
ago?
was 30. This one was 30 years ago. In fact, they were
So
just doing a
30 years
tribute to
ago.
her.
So maybe one of the oldest female, and she's just getting recognized now.
No,
In
she's all
20,
they were just doing a tribute. I think she turned
okay, they're doing
70.
a tribute, but it's not like a big, it's not like, oh, she's one of, when they're mentioning big names in banking, her name is not one of the, what's her name? What's
She's
her
got
name?
200, over 200 employees under her. She's
But
the
what is
owner of
her name?
Mrs. Rosemary Pochime. She owns
Does
Abbey
anybody
Mortgage
recognize her
Bank.
name?
No, no,
You
they
understand?
are big in mortgage. They are a very big mortgage bank
I'm
in
not saying
Nigeria.
that, no, get to understand. I'm not saying she's not big, but what I'm saying is when you're talking about the big players in that industry, does her name pop up as regularly as the men?
Wait, isn't his
You,
question that she doesn't have a lot of women that she's
no, no,
hired?
That's
no, no.
what I
I'm,
want
So
I'm
to
even
know.
coming. I'm coming to the issue.
okay.
I'm first of all asking how long ago
Okay,
did this thing with
okay.
her start? Wait,
If you
wait,
count
wait. Let me ask all my questions, then you can answer everything. So, how long ago is her name as recognizable as the men in the same field? Then put into consideration that until maybe again 30 years ago, girls were constantly being pushed towards what certain professions when they go to university. Some are not even allowed to go to university because they're like, what are you going to use university to go? You are going to go to your husband's house. So go and do homework, come and do, things that they'll be like, so that you won't say you didn't go to school. Is very few outlier families that encourage their daughters to go and be lawyers, doctors. Da, 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 da. When we look at the generality, at least from when I was in uni, I know how many, when we go to the science students, to the medical side to go and look at the boys, we know how many females we saw with coats. There were not plenty. When I was admitted into OSU, I was on the dean's list. The woman was practically crying. She was like, "You're the first lady on the dean's list in a long time. Why are you going to go and do performance at an English? Are you crazy?" And that was 1995. So what we are asking is, how long ago did women start being in this kind of positions, considering that their background on the average, now I'm talking average, did not even allow them to go and do things like engineering, things that are like what we would call male
It
dominated
wasn't. It
jobs.
wasn't encouraged because Ron has said this shit before. No, it wasn't Ron. It's that friend of you people that you brought that said that women they study business admin. What do men study? Men study engineering. But you want to hear a funny story, and you can Google this and check it out. Pakistan says have a problem where they had all these female doctors, but none of their husbands allowed them to work, and they had a shortage of doctors, but they were these female doctors were not actually allowed to practice. So there are cultural issues when it comes to women and working. So if a woman runs a bank and you're like, wow, she's the head of a bank, 300 people, and most of them are still male, why isn't she hiring women? There are two reasons for that. One, there are going to be as many women that are qualified as men, not because we can't do it, but because of how our families are structured, especially in a place like Africa. Whose responsibility is it to look after the smaller children? Is it not the daughter? Is it ever the son? Who's given priority when it comes to school? If parents are poor in Nigeria and only one child can go to school, who are they going to choose? The boy. Hillary Clinton, she actually was the one who spoke about it and said that when we educate our girls, when we give girls opportunities and when we give girls access to birth control, that is the single biggest way to reduce poverty. Because what tends to happen is women are kept at home as caretakers, caregivers. They do 70% of the chores in the house compared to the boys.
Sorry,
Boys are
sorry,
allowed.
sorry. Is it women or wives? Because let's make the distinctions. General
Women,
women
we're
or
talking
wives.
about
Ron, leave
women
that
and wives.
one. It's not a
Women
matter of
and wives.
wives or whatever.
Remember,
As long
even
as you
in
have
our
a family.
society, we raise our boys and girls differently. We raise boys to take more risk. We raise boys to be good at
Sorry,
math, to be
sorry,
good at
sorry,
construction.
sorry,
Whereas we
sorry.
raise
Can I ask
women
you? Can I ask you a
to be better
question?
at caring things, which was what Abby
I
was
even
talking
want them
about
to
earlier.
finish so
Can
Okay,
that
I?
okay,
I'm
No,
going
okay,
to
hold on. Can I
address
ask you a
everything.
question?
Leave them to finish.
But we can I ask a
yeah.
question, and can I just read
Yeah.
a statement? I'll just read a statement. Very interesting thing. This is according to what Mackenzie, BG Baines, and Baines, and this is all UK. According to them, it's simple, very very simple. Women are 36% more likely to be hired than men. They are also less likely to be viewed for a job. But when men compete more, but less of the men win. Now, listen to this. So for an
It's
application per
not
view, for
true. It's
100
not
men,
true.
hold on,
I don't know
for a
what you
100
did
men,
there.
hold on,
Wait now,
for an
wait.
application to win. Now, I'm not, you want to talk about statistics. I'm just saying simple. For application per view, for every 100 applications of men viewed, there were 83. For every 100 interviews per applications for men, there were 89 for women. Now, for every 76 hires for men, there were 100 for women. It is
In
not
which
that it is
country was
changing,
this?
but what?
I
Is
thank
Hold
this
on,
you.
in,
hold on,
What
hold on.
country and what
I'm coming to
industry?
it. I'm coming to
That's
it. Now
definitely
you
not
see how
UK in
you see how
Africa.
hold
It's
on,
not
hold
safe.
on,
The
hold on,
story says
hold on,
right.
hold on.
wait,
Let me
It's
finish.
wait, Bumi,
CEO.
wait,
Hold on now.
wait,
Let me
wait,
finish
wait,
now. Let me
Bumi,
finish.
wait,
Let
Bumi,
me
wait.
finish. When I started, I said I argue very interestingly and very carefully. You see how because I brought this stats, the first thing you bring in is
It is
there must be
wrong. It is
conditions.
wrong.
There
It's
must be
wrong.
conditions.
Look, you
No, hold
saying
on.
that men
The first thing
having
you
more
hold on.
opportunities
The
than
first
women
thing
is
you
like
brought in is
Bumi,
changing
wait,
could you
gravity.
Bumi,
just
wait,
listen at
It's
please.
just
all?
Bumi,
wrong.
wait.
All we can talk about
Could you
is
listen? Could
fiction.
you listen? Could you
Bumi,
listen?
just wait,
The
please.
first,
Let
the,
him,
the
let
first
him
thing you
say what
brought
he.
in,
No, you
the
can't
first
just
thing
say
you
stuff
brought
as
in.
intellect and then it dismisses
No, I'm even
facts.
Oh
trying
man,
to. I'm
I'm
trying to
asking
understand
again.
what country. Just wait, wait. Let me understand. If I continue.
The first thing you brought about was simple this that there were conditions. Now, if we bring in those conditions, and all I've been saying from the beginning when I started is to make that statement right now in this time and age is very, very, we have to all be very careful about it because we need to go challenge that status quo. And if it holds, we hold it. So I wouldn't make that statement unless I challenged it. Now, why I'm saying challenge it is because once I say that this is it in this society, the first thing that comes in is you all jump in and put in those conditions. No, it has to be this condition. It has to be that, okay, this is this society, even in the most progressive society. That's the question. If we're going to do that, then that means we cannot holistically take that statistics and run with it. We need to also break it into regions, break it into what's happening differently.
No,
Because to
you
tell
can speak
somebody
Wait,
that's
generally,
wait,
what
but
it
if you're
is,
gonna
no,
speak
you
generally,
can't do
that's
that
not
because
wait,
factual.
if you
wait
speak
now,
generally,
wait,
No,
because if you speak
if I'm
wait,
being
generally,
indulgent
you
right
don't
now,
have a
you
no.
made a
If you speak
statement that was
generally,
wait.
accurate.
hold
It's
on. If
accurate
you
for a
speak
particular
generally,
area.
if you
And
Oh
then when we
God.
no,
talk about you
Oh.
saying that we're trying to
if
freeze
we
the
put it
game,
there, but
you're
Are
the
we
one
if we
going
that
to
put
asked
it
mute
for
you
there,
it.
two
if we put
before
it
you
there,
calm
God,
down?
If I'm being
Are we going
silly,
to mute
you're
you two before we
thorough.
calm
It's
down?
better that Okay, maybe
Wait,
that's not how I should
wait,
have
wait,
worded it. So as
wait.
If
not to
I
be
send
all
me the link,
rude to the answer that he's doing right now.
if I send me the link,
So,
Okay, Abby, you made the comment. Please, can you go back to that comment to what Ifeanyi was saying?
I was just saying that we have to look at the context, and I think in a way, without sounding very backward, I think what Ifeanyi was saying is that we can't be too generalistic. However, even at that, we can't compare, regardless of the country, we can't compare the statistics of, men and women being, Ron was mentioning, oh, well, one woman and all that, she's doing well, she owns the bank and all that. One
it's
amongst how many?
insane. It's insane. This is very
One,
uneducated thinking. To say that,
do
oh,
you
but me and
understand?
so and so
One
don't know.
amongst
Bumi,
how
wait,
many?
Bumi, wait,
Conflict
please.
with what
Bumi, wait.
people who've studied the matter have said.
Bumi, wait, please,
So,
let
and,
Abby,
and, and, and in
please.
terms of,
I'm not starting
No,
conversations.
wait
I'm
now.
sorry.
Wait,
yeah.
everybody waits when you are talking. Let Abby
Sorry,
finish.
Abby. Sorry.
In terms of statistics, we have to look at the proportion as well. So we are not just going to say, 1 to 10, and we say that, oh, as long as there is one, or as long as there is two. And this is why I have an issue. If we want to bring this back home to what we are discussing today, I have an issue, and I know that it does happen when people say, men, they get raped too, or men, and I know they do. Don't get me wrong now. I know they do. But when somebody's talking, when a particular lady comes out and say, "Oh, this thing happened," oh, what about women, men? It happens to men too. The point there is this: we have to look at the proportion. We have to look at the numbers. We have to look at the statistics, and we're not just going to look at it like, okay, 5 to 10, 5 to 10 of how many? Are we looking at it in lot size? Are we looking at it in singleton or something? So we have to kind of be very specific in what we are saying. I know, I understand what Ifeanyi is saying, right? But Ifeanyi, I am thinking that he's talking about it, looking at the times now. But we are not just looking at it now. We are looking
Where?
at it from when the whole thing is started and the little impact we've been able to make.
Now, even if he's looking at the times now, where? Because in certain parts of the world, that is not the case. So he's looking at a specific time zone, a time period, and a specific part of the world. And he's upset that I was upset that he made a general statement about those specific things, a specific part of
Bumi,
the world,
Bumi,
or a
Ifeanyi,
Bumi,
specific
Bumi,
Ifeanyi, I
Bumi,
time.
want to
Bumi,
ask.
No,
Bumi,
if I
Bumi.
Ifeanyi,
Hold
what
Ifeanyi.
on.
you're
I have to say
saying, clean
something.
up what
I
you're
say something.
saying,
If
I say
because
something.
I will
Hold on. I
challenge
have
I
to
you,
say
want to
and
ask
you will
something.
not
I
questions,
have to say
allow
now,
me. You
something.
try
wow,
to
I
make it
beg.
seem like I am the crazy one. You are the crazy one here. You made a statement that was specific to a particular
Okay,
time and
okay,
a particular
let
place.
us calm down, please, let's calm down. Ifeanyi, first of all, they don't use Yoruba spell your name, oh. Your name has become Ifeanyi. 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 So
Yoruba
from today, your name is no longer Ifeanyi, your name is Ifeanyi. Ifeanyi, they ask you to post it.
everybody calm down, calm down, calm down.
Oh,
So
but you said
The
that
first
this
thing
is
I
a
like the
UK.
first thing I like to address.
Ifeanyi.
Hold on now. The first thing I
Mackenzie is
like to address
US
is simple.
now. Mackenzie is US.
The first thing
No,
I like to
I don't
address
think it's a
is this.
US, oh.
First thing I like to address this.
But
Hold
it's
on
in
now.
Canada.
The first
Mackenzie
thing I like
is
to address is
is
this.
a American company.
No, it's the UK company. The three companies I
I was
mentioned
like,
are
you said
UK
Okay, but
UK
companies.
they're
now.
different
They're all
Mackenzie.
they're all
They're
UK
different
companies. And
Mackenzie.
Bain McKenzie, they're all UK companies.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
and
the
you,
first
the
thing I want to
UK
say is
is
this.
one of the places in
Hold
the
on,
world with the
listen.
Oh,
current
this your
gender
cool God,
situation. So
please.
you
Just
cannot take one of the best
listen.
places. Why don't you go and look at Yemen? Go and see the statistics in Yemen now. Go and check
I
out
am
the
breaking
statistics in
my
Togo.
promise. Run, yeah, your
How many
coconut head.
countries are like
Look at what
UK
you've got.
compared to who are like Togo? Like, no,
No,
I
baby,
was
bring
saying that
topic that
actually.
Bumi bring
Now
topic
you,
that
I go fight
is
you. Which kind of thing is this?
I said
If
you
not
should
be
vote.
you, why is
I
you
said
kata
you
kata for
should vote.
ground now?
I
No,
you get one for
people,
this
you
topic.
this kills
I
me.
told you people I
Kills
want the people
me.
about this
You
topic.
will be disciplined if
Hold
it kills me. You
Yeah,
cannot
why
bring.
be attack
on.
am? You say, I be a Brita. You don't see yourself now. You don't see?
You people were the one that chose this topic. Oh.
Here's the
We're
interesting thing.
fine.
No, but here's the interesting thing. And I'll say it once. I'll say it once. Is this for me? I don't know if you have an idea or if you have an opinion that I'm actually pissed. If you do, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not even.
No, I
You
don't
guys
think
can
so.
almost not think it.
But I hope
That's
you're
one.
not.
Two is this. Is amazing how you go around, go off, and still come back to the same point that Habi was trying to make you understand I was making. For each time we push you back, you always say, what if we
You
go to
see, you're
Yemen
doing it
and you
again. You're
introduce,
doing that mansplaining,
hold
trying to
on,
make it seem like it's
hold
my
on,
problem.
and you
That's what makes me
introduce,
go up. You need to
wait,
understand
hold
something.
on,
I've been
let me
working
finish.
in the male
Hold on, let
domain
me
for
finish.
over
Jesus is
30
Lord.
years. I
I'm
see
going to
you
hear
people
this.
coming here and saying people coming. No, you were the one who was wrong. You misspoke. What you meant to
I'm
say
going
was
to hear
to
this.
say
Jesus
Abby,
that
is
there's a
Abby, don't
boy.
sit down there and just be smiling.
You
No,
didn't
open
say
your mouth
that.
and talk
You did not
something.
say that. You said you said it's not true.
Jesus is
And what
Lord.
I'm trying to tell you that it is true unless you understand the specific places.
Run. Stop it. Stop
Exactly.
it.
Well, stop
Run.
it. Yeah, like
Uh-huh. Now
I,
that we
of
are
course,
calm.
fine. I was, and I'll respect you more if you
Ah,
agree. You
it
were
is still
speaking about a
shouting.
specific place. Yes, because you won't listen. You will not listen.
Leave.
I'm still
Please, I don't
talking,
like it.
and
So if
I
people leave my boomy
let me tell
alone,
you
stop it.
something. Let me tell you something. I have a pet peeve in this life. It is people who think that the two things that are happening in their neighborhood is something that they can base actual conclusions on. So somebody will say, "Oh, I studied 5,000 women. Cocoa butter on your belly doesn't actually do anything to stretch marks." And one more will be like, "Ah, it's a lie, oh. Me and my mother, we've always used cocoa butter. We don't have stretch marks." But it's just you and your mother. This person said that he studied 5,000 people. Why should we believe you over the person who studied 5,000 people? And I'm alarmed by how many educated people make this mistake all the time. So when Ifan comes and he tells me something that is absolutely false, goes against everything we know, which is that women are doing better than men, of course I'm going to challenge it. And then when we're saying that, unless you're talking about a specific place, you're like, yes, now. That's what I was saying. No, that was not what you were saying. You were speaking generally. And I was trying to tell you to be disciplined and to say that you're talking about a specific place or a specific time. Otherwise,
Bumi,
what you're saying
Bumi,
is
Bumi, Bumi,
categorically
Bumi,
wrong.
Bumi, Bumi. I try not to shout, and for the
We
first
can
time,
move
I will
on
ask
now.
you
I,
this.
I, I
No,
don't
no,
want I
no.
don't
I
want to
can say
shout
this. No,
either.
no, no.
So
I
if you
can
talk
say this.
over me,
No,
I will
I can
shout.
say this.
If you talk
I can
over me,
say
I will
this.
shout.
Please,
You, could
guys,
you
just
just
so you
listen?
know, Jagaban
Could you
won.
just
No,
listen? Bumi, could you
Jagaban
just
has
listen?
won. I
Could you
just
just
was
For
giving
listen?
you the results so that everybody will be
Mm.
calming down
real?
for Jesus.
For
Yes,
real?
Jagaban has won APC tickets. Oh yeah,
Wow.
sure your una
Bumi,
body has come down now. Una
it's
see?
not. It's
Una don't
oh
see?
man.
Una don't see?
All these
Everybody be
singles
coming down for Jesus.
is okay.
Continue,
Oh,
Anyway,
continue.
una see
anyway,
say una no fit talk again. Una see say una no fit talk again because the one wey be the real problem just can't happen now. The real problem does happen now. Look, let me tell you something. You said that is England. I'm
Hey,
just
I'm
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 just
trying to.
wondering.
Can I at least say something?
Okay,
But
say
in all
something.
of this, in all of your flaring, you just didn't listen. Just listen. The person that listened, Happy came out and said what exactly I said. And what you were saying is simple. We should be careful not to take statistics. That's my point. Let's not take statistics and run with it. Let's challenge that statistic. So if we challenge it, we know what we are saying, what we're not saying, why we're saying it, why are we
I
saying it.
don't agree with what you just said, but I feel like unless I let you
Again,
win,
again,
unless I cater to your male ego, we will never move past this.
I don't, trust me, I don't even want to win. And if you think about it, you've been shouting at me, and I just can't even say a word. So if that's me having male ego, then I have a problem because that's
No, it's
obviously me
not you
not
having a
talking.
male ego, but
So
you keep
that's the
saying things that are
thing.
not
So
factually accurate.
no, no, no. I have only told you my point simply now. And I said, if you want to dispute that point, fine and good. I said, you said something, and I said, hey, for me, here's my point. Can we challenge that
No,
statistics?
if
And
fine,
if
you
we challenge
no,
it,
if
hey,
fine, you said
oh,
that women are doing better than men, and I said no, that is not true.
I rest, I rest my case because I think that this is being recorded. If you could replay it back, you
Yes,
probably realize that for each time I say something, for me, I'm very careful. That's why I say I never talk. I really don't talk because I'm afraid of it.
I feel like this is like
That's the truth.
emotional blackmail. I'm very careful. I don't. I'm
No,
gonna.
no, it's
But the
not. It's
facts
not. It's
are,
not.
you said if
I'm
No,
fine,
not.
there's no
I'm
if
not
emotional. I
emotionally
fine,
don't.
blackmailing at all.
No
you said
emotional
More
you
like
blackmail.
said women
John.
are doing better than men. And Abby was trying to tell you to make sure that. Never mind. Let's just move on.
Oh yeah,
I think I've made
Abby.
my point.
Okay,
Even
Bumi and
I'm being
Ifeanyi make una rest.
interpreted, even
Oh yeah,
I'm being
make una rest.
interpreted
It's up una.
differently.
I go
All
mute
I am
una.
saying is this. I remember a few weeks ago, there was a particular guest that Ron had. And that when that guest came, I think it was at the after party, and it was it was talking very generalistic. I couldn't even stand him this particular guest. He
Oh,
was
I
talking,
remember
was
the
like,
guy. I
all women
realized
are
that there was
this,
no space
all
for him
women are
here.
that, all women are this. And I could remember vividly
His
that
problem
Ifeanyi
were
was
women.
there. Exactly. I can remember vividly that Ifeanyi was there on that day, and he was like, "No, you can't be so generalistic like that," because I'm
I,
like, it's so
am I
absurd.
the only one that heard if I actually say women are doing better than men?
No, no, he said that, but it depends on the context that he was,
He was
because he
talking
didn't
about
finish
a
that
context.
statement. He wanted
Mm.
to give a scenario, but we didn't let him finish that statement. I'm not speaking for him, but I
Mm.
know that, just like Abby said earlier, in terms of
Okay,
the
okay.
progress, the progress is kind of very minute compared to what it should have been by
I
now. If
know what these guys
only
are trying to tell you. There's no what they were trying to tell you. I shouted them down. They were here to tell you you're talking out of your ass. Women are doing better here at the start. But all right, it's fine. I want to hear what you have to say. Go for it. You're falling for their lies. I'm telling you, I've worked with men for
No,
20 years.
nah. Booby, you see,
in order for
in
us to be
arguments,
I
now
backed up.
two
progressive.
I backed
people,
up.
wait,
I want to
in
hear what if I has
arguments,
to
now two
say.
people they talk, oh. No be now two people. So when one person talk, we go allow me talk. Then when you finish your own, then we go allow the other person
You
talk.
know,
But the
you know
problem
when
be
they were
say every
talking,
other when the other person want
when you
continue.
guys were talking, all I did was listen. I was listening to both arguments without trying to be biased. I understand what Ifeanyi was saying, and I'm just saying this now, coinciding that with what he has said before. Now, I know that he made that statement, that particular statement, that you would have allowed him to land. And at this point, he would have fell flat if that was where he was going, that women are actually doing better. But I'm thinking, if I'm speaking well, and I'm not sure, but what I could read from him and his own, personnel and whatever and everything, I think where he's going was the fact that, we have to be very kind of careful in terms of making everything generalistic. Things are getting better, but we would have now shooting back to say that, yeah, but it's not
We told
enough.
him that. Abby and I
Yeah,
convinced him of that. He came here
I
believing
know,
the
but it's not.
opposite.
But
See,
you wait, let me say something, Abby.
Okay, I
Sorry.
want to let
You
him
see,
go, but
Yoruba
don't keep
people have
saying
a
things that
statement.
drags me back
Wait,
into the
Yoruba people have a statement.
nonsense.
If you
yeah,
want to catch somebody, don't catch them here. Can you see?
exactly. That's
Don't
what
catch
Bumi
them
made
here
it happen.
because they can
Bumi
still
made
be
him
like, "This is
escape.
woman." Catch them here where they can to get out. It is problem. So the thing is that if we had wait because Mita was listening to what Ifeanyi was
It's
saying, and
yeah.
that was why I heard him when he said UK. You thought he said US. I said no, he said
No,
UK.
he
No.
said
But
That
UK.
nobody.
was after. That was about Mackenzie because I
No,
know
I think
Mackenzie
before
here in
or
the
I
US.
think
I've never
after.
heard of a
The thing
Mackenzie in
is
the
that I was
UK.
listening to it because I had some follow up questions I wanted
You
to
know
ask
why?
him.
Maybe we
You know
can
why he
rewind it.
used.
Let's
You know why
rewind.
he used
Go
the
back and
UK.
rewind it
Wait,
later
wait,
and
wait.
we'll see
You
what
know why he
happened.
used the
This
UK?
was
Because all he's saying
pre-UK.
is that,
A beef with him was pre the Mackenzie
no,
thing. Or
what he
it was
was
the first thing
saying,
Ifan said, which was completely
I
wrong. And
I
both I
know,
and Abe gave
but
him opportunity to
what
say
he
that
was
it was in
trying
this
to,
particular place or this particular time. He
what he
never
was
said
trying
that. He
to,
didn't correct
what
that.
he was trying to, what
So
I
let
believe he
us
was
go
trying
and
to
read your
bring
friend's
out,
book
I
and,
mean,
and
what
tell
I
me
think he
about
was
it.
trying to bring out in
Ifan
this
was
Bumi,
wrong.
Abby has
conversation.
been
He just
saying
cannot
as
accept that
Abby
he
has
was
been saying
wrong.
the same thing. Let her land, please. She's
So
been repeating the same statement for
what
10
I think
times.
he was trying, what I think he was trying to make out for is the fact that even if we're going to make this statement, we have to be very considerate with the context, the location, the set of people we are trying to describe.
Okay,
Because
let's
in
just
some
move
parts of
on
the
because you
world,
guys are getting on my nerves. Like we were not
No,
all
no, no,
here.
no, no.
That's
I
not what
want Abby to
happened.
finish.
That is not
Wait, I
what
want Abby to
happened.
finish, then I'll answer. Abby, finish.
so it was trying to say, see, because what it was trying to do, rather than going straight to what he was trying to say, it was trying to cite an example. I want to see how we are going to fall for that example so that you can come back to see how this is what he was trying to say in terms of the context. Because you remember, as soon as he said this particular thing, I jumped on the call to say that that's not Africa, that's UK. And he was trying to go back to it to say that that is what he was trying to say, that we can't just say that this is what, the progress is happening. If we look at it abroad, it's likely happening better than what it still looks like in Africa. In Africa, it might be worse, but here things are gradually changing. We are not anywhere near there, but we can't compare it. And this is what I believe. And he's here. He can
So
correct me
he
if I'm
couldn't
wrong.
say that in some parts of the world. He had to say no. women are doing better. He couldn't say women are doing better in some parts of the
But we
world
didn't allow
for
him to
like
finish
20
though.
minutes. Yeah, because I think this is, you're just, I don't understand why you guys are
When he
defending
said
us.
Mackenzie, he clearly said
This is,
UK. When he started with
but
Mackenzie,
that
Okay.
happened
May I
afterwards.
speak?
That happened way
May I
afterwards.
speak? May I speak? May I
Can we
speak?
just
And
move
please,
on? Like, oh, you
I
told me
would like
1 year
everybody
auntie, but I
to.
will not. I'm not
Okay,
stepping
I
back
would
on
like
it.
everybody
I gave
to hear
Ifeanyi the
me well.
opportunity to clarify what he was saying. He didn't.
Okay, Bumi, please just let me have this floor, yeah? And I want everybody to hear me well. Now, when I initially spoke about, you know, the minuscule progress, I was even speaking on a general term. I was even picking it down to location. Like, if you look at through time, and that's why I went to America, that is in 2020, is it 21 or 22 that you finally got a woman vice president after how many years of independence of America? The countries that we can point out to that women have even become places of leadership, they're not up to five in the whole countries of the world. So obviously, something is not equal or balanced somewhere.
According to
Now,
Ifeanyi,
I've
wrong
just
aunties is women
I've
that wrong
just
things.
mentioned please. I've just mentioned now that Jagaban in the whole of Lagos, everybody that could enter politics is Jagaban they chose. In Nigeria now, as we speak, I've just seen
Wait,
it on my feed.
you were talking about the
For
real
APC
Jagaban. That's the one
APC
that was
ticket.
fighting and
Abby,
shit.
Abby, Jagaban did
Eh?
not win anything. He's not started voting. Stop giving false
No, for
information.
the APC tickets, not the votes.
They've
As
not
in for
even
the
started voting for the ticket yet.
they don't they shout saying
Just
I ain't win them now. Now the
change
thing
your
will come.
faith. They're not politically
Okay.
inclined. Ask
Anyways,
me and
leave
Abby
that
for
thing.
topic.
At the end of the day, how many women are entering into the political thing in Nigeria? Now, I will always speak of where I know best. I know Nigeria, I know UK. When you said the research using the Mackenzie whatever. Now, again, UK, because UK is Scottish, Wales, Northern Ireland, Northern Ireland, and England. Now, if it is Britain, Northern Ireland has been removed out of it. So that has not been calculated. And there is a high rate of unemployment, especially with women in Ireland. So that has not been calculated into the mix. So again, that's why I wanted to ask what was their their poll
There's actually
that they
nowhere
looked
in the
into.
world where women are doing better than men. Like
No,
nowhere. There are some places where we're doing
well,
better
at least
than
we
other
can
women
look
in
at some
other
countries and
places,
say
but there's just
marginally
nowhere.
better. So
So
the
I don't know
thing is
what
that wait,
guys.
in some places, Bumi, please, in some places, women have started to get more ahead. At least,
Yes, and we can
hopefully,
talk about those things and those places and the ways in which they're getting ahead. But we have to at least start from a common truth,
which
which is
is
that
why
all
I
over the
started
world,
from,
men are
which
doing
is
better. Men have a better, so it's a
which is
fair
where I
grab,
started
basically. It
from.
doesn't mean some women aren't
Bumi,
doing
Bumi, that was
better.
where I started from. So what I'm saying is when we are looking at because we've deviated very much from the
Because you
topic.
are so exactly.
When we are looking at the whole thing and we want to say yes, in some cases, I mean, there was a guy that
Oh
wrote
my
an
god.
article in England recently about the danger, the danger of being a straight white man in England. That if you want to get a job, it's better you are gay or you are trans because straight white men are no longer fashionable, and he got a lot of flack for it, but a lot of people also agreed with him. So
Yes,
even
because for
men
the
have,
first time you said
so with that community they're also having that issue, but that was even by the side. But what we are saying
no,
is
actually
on
that's
the
the
app.
core of the
Bumi,
issue.
please, now
No,
when you
sorry,
talk I
dear.
don't
No, no, I'm not
interrupt.
fighting with you. I just want
I'm
to
not
point out that what you are saying is the core of the issue. There are changes in certain places, and the people who are not used to it are feeling it. That's why a white guy can say some shit like that because that is actually his reality. Now he has to not just compete with other white men, he has to compete with brown men, with women, with gay people. He never had to do that before. Of course, he's going to complain. You know, this is what looks to some men and why they're getting so angry. And this is the crux of the matter that guys have to calm down. It looks to them like things are changing rapidly in favor of women
It's
and
not
gays
rapid at
and blah
all.
blah blah. And it's not. It just looks that way,
Especially
and
when
it's
it
making
comes to
women
women,
react
no,
very very
it's not
badly.
changing
Now,
at all.
can
We
I
have to
say
look at the
something?
average. It's the
Can I say
average.
something? Abby, can I say
Mm.
something? This is meant to be like a discussion forum where
Yes,
everybody hear their own opinion. You don't have
yes,
to, I don't have to agree with your opinion and vice versa. So
yes,
what we've been saying all along is that allow Ifeanyi to say his own part as well. Because what we are
mm,
trying to do is that we are progressive people.
Okay, let's
And
be
I know,
clear.
and
yes.
I
I'm not,
don't have a
and I,
problem with anybody's opinion, but I do have a problem with people making up their own facts.
yeah, but
I can't fuck
you
with
have to
that.
also
But
We
he
learn the
can't
said
fuck
he
with
rules. You
said
have
that.
to also
he said
We
learn.
have to agree on some basic facts.
Yeah, but we have to also
he said
understand. We have
he
to also understand that when there is a discussion, when we are in a discussion forum, we have to allow other people to hear their opinion. It doesn't have to be right. We don't have to agree. A lot of times, Ron
Opinions
says
don't have to be right. Facts have to be right.
a lot of
Don't quote a fact
things
that's
that
not right. You should be
uh,
corrected.
uh,
If I
uh,
say something that's
when
not right,
but they
correct
yeah,
me.
we
you
will
need to be
correct him, but
corrected,
we
but
will
let
let
the
him
person land.
finish.
So we
We will
Yes.
moved
let
on
him
from. I was
finish.
just trying to add to what Abby said because she was making an excellent point. I think it's the crux of the matter is that there's a lot of
I know,
fear
but
because there's a lot of change. I'm not. Let's not. We
I
don't need to
know,
go back to that argument. Let's just move on and have a discussion.
but
Okay.
still, everybody has
Enuka.
opportunity to have share.
Hey. Yes, sir. Welcome, Anuka. Welcome.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
Anuka.
I
Welcome.
don't know you.
Welcome, Anuka. Welcome. Welcome, Anuka. Welcome. I have to
Well,
sing
Seneca,
song
come
for
and
you
save
because
me,
I've missed
please,
you
because
that
these people are
much.
giving me blood pressure today.
You're looking
I've
excited.
missed
What
you that
happened?
much.
They're giving me blood
Okay.
pressure.
Kede,
Okay.
why are you not
Because
looking excited to see me? This is not like you.
Well,
Do you know
well,
how
it's
draining
fine.
it has been for me this last 30
I
minutes?
beg you.
I want
And
I
I'm
can
almost
barely
with
see
you.
clearly. Like,
Harry
I
was
can barely see clearly.
everybody should listen.
You're right, Nika.
Even
All I am saying is we are progressive people, and I know that from discussions that we've had in the past, when we talk about these things, we are not just talking about it because we want to say something is right, something is wrong. We want to also hear our opinion to see that how do we move forward from where we are, so that in case
Yeah.
somebody this becomes an educative show, and it can't be educative show when we can't listen to one another. So when somebody's talking, you don't agree with that person. You can say, oh, if this person finish, I want to say something, hold that thought, and then let another person finish their thoughts. And then we can then, say these things in a way. A lot of times, without trying to speak for anyone, I think if I wanted to say a few things that will stop him from talking. And at the end of the day, we kind of misheard wherever he's trying to portray or wherever. And I know that it's an interesting discussion. So I'm just going to shush moving forward. So have the floor, guys.
I think I
Okay.
need to change my
okay,
feed true because I'm still hearing
okay.
that it is Jagaban they're shouting. But okay, let me forget that
I
one.
just don't
Okay,
mind
so
it.
going back,
Okay,
yeah, run, continue.
you said that there are not up to 5 countries where women are leading and all that. So I just wanted to throw in small correction. There are actually 21 countries with women as heads of state. Okay,
Okay,
20.
praise God.
So that's an improvement from
Yes.
when it didn't used to happen.
Well, I don't know. I think
Incumbent.
that shit is debatable, but
I'm looking at Wikipedia. They're showing their countries and their names now.
no, I'm not. I'm not debating the number. I'm debating whether it is an improvement just that women are there. And the reason I say this is that I would rather a man was there if the man was going to be the kind of person who to push an agenda that was favorable to women. Do you see?
Now, this brings me to the original question I was asking and where I was going to. I think it was only
Sometimes
Amplifiers
some
that.
women are worse than men. That's how they got to those positions in the first place. But okay, let me not take us off
Okay.
tangent.
Okay. So, yes, I need to clear out some impressions. Some erroneous impressions have been thrown this evening, and I need to clear it out. I understand that Abi was in Osu in 2000 and sorry 1995. So maybe
Yeah.
yes, maybe that
Thank you.
time, maybe that time, that's what was going on. As out
Yes,
of
like I said, in
19,
my time. You don't tell where I live now.
okay,
Continue, sir.
as out, as out of 1999, 2000, there was a cult issue in Osu, right? So the VC at that time decided that, and I'm not joking, they
I know. I
admitted
was there.
more girls. Like they virtually admitted almost two times the number of boys in the girls section. We had more girls. So now it sounded crazy to us back then. Guess what? Today, as I speak to you, if you check admissions list, most universities, girls outnumber, sorry, women outnumber boys. Most, and I'm not making this nonsense up.
No, that's
Go
a
check
fact.
all the,
It's been a trend
you
in a
know,
lot
see,
of places.
go check it. Then, as out of 1998 till now, I lost count around
Especially black
2000.
women.
Okay, okay. So as of
Right, I'm
1998,
agreeing with you. It's true.
okay, yeah. So as of 1998 till maybe 2015, when I lost the statistics, more females were bankers in Nigeria as a whole. Let me repeat it again. More
Someone is
Well, we
women.
know why
repeating.
that one is.
Can you check your phone? Someone is repeating.
Somebody, everybody mute, everybody mute, everybody mute. Okay,
Mhm.
so okay, so now we had more females in
It's
insurance.
still echoing. Bumi,
I think
mute,
it's Bumi.
please.
It's Bumi. It's Bumi. It's Bumi.
It's Bumi. Can you mute,
So
please? Ahead.
uh, I've muted that. So we had more females in the banking and insurance sector. Although you argue that most of the women were in marketing department, that's a condition, right? But
Hmm.
we're just looking at the larger picture. Now, why I picked up this beautiful lady that turned 72 or 73, this bank owner, was that she has a staff strength of over 200. Bumi again. Bumi again. Your thing is echoing. Okay. She has a staff strength of over 250 staff, right? Guess what? There are more men there. She owns the company. She's not dragging with anybody. She founded the company. She's the chief executive of the company. In fact, her daughter is taking over her seat as the CEO in the next few months, right? But still, now I'm using her as an example because I just found out last month that there were women who owned record companies in Nigeria, labels, who stuffed their labels up with male artists, right? Where am I going to with this? I agree that yes, over the years there's been patriarchy. Verifiable fact, no debate about it. But I'm now seeing a trend whereby those ones being empowered, right, are not empowering the ones coming behind them. And the only noise I see is on different movements. If it's not Me Too, it's feminist. All the noise ends when they've allowed them to talk. But in reality, women don't uplift women. And I don't know if you've noticed that trend. They don't.
It's not true. I can
Okay.
explain.
All right.
Have any of you guys heard
Wait,
of
wait.
Camilla
Can you
Noel?
wait? Let's run. Just finish everything he's saying first.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, run. Continue.
So now, then, and lastly, it's not all jobs that women can do. There are jobs that are just male jobs. You can't expect a female to do a physically tasking job. That's going to be like pushing the boundary, right? But anything that has to do with that brain power, mental, intellectual capacity, and she has the brain to do it, by all means, she should not be stopped. I don't expect a woman to be carrying bags of cement or go inside a latrine to go and pack shit. And no, that's not a place of a woman. And I am one of the people that boldly say that I don't even support women in combat. I don't care what anybody thinks about it. But based on what I know it's a dumb move to put women in combat. So, but that being said, doctor, nurse, engineer, project manager, what other good jobs are there? Any beautiful jobs that require office sitting down and tasking your brains accountant, lawyer, anything that involves intellectual capacity, mental and intellectual expression. I support it 100%. But what I'm scared of is that let us not start a trend whereby we start pushing women into those physical ability things, all in the name of we want equality. Then at the end of the day, it becomes an albatross that nobody can remove and say, and now we start the movement, but we can't stop it now. How do we convince everybody that this was a bad idea? So what I'm just saying is that while we are trying to move in a direction of equality, let's calculate what we are picking and what we are throwing away. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anybody should be held back. That's all.
Okay. I just also want to quickly drop in that let's think about generations. How many years is a generation, if I may ask? I don't want to say something that Ron will now come back and say Wikipedia said. So how many years
No,
is a
no, Abby,
generation?
that allegation that Ron made that women don't support women, I would
We
like
will
to
come back
address
to
it.
that. We'll come back to that. But I just want to ask, how many years make a generation?
It depends on the
Ten
context. They,
sometimes. It
10
depends on the
years or 20
context.
No,
years.
20
It
to
depends
30
on the context.
years.
Uh,
No,
So
that's why I said
20 to 30 years make a generation. So when a generation of women have been conditioned or been conformed to a certain thing, it takes another generation. So we are looking at another 30 years for things to change to the way that we think it should change. Right? So if now you said there are women who own record
Banks,
labels.
record companies,
We
yes.
hardly I can't hear I don't know one. Because again, I mean, what's the point of owning something? There's Don Jazzy out there, there's all these Mohits and all of that so whatever out there that we hear of, and then there are women who are owning record labels and we don't even know of them. So those are things that need to be looked into. But again, those are outliers. I've learned that word and I love it so much. Those are outliers. What I'm talking about, going back to the question, on the average, if me, Enuka, and Abby gather to fight Ron, we might overpower him, but we go collect. Abby, we will collect. Three of us against one man. We might overpower him, but the three of us go collect because on the average, physically, we are not par on par. So when we go back to the question that how does domestic violence affect men and women differently? It just is because biology on the general, on the average, will make it so. So unless a man has been brought up not to hit a woman, therefore the woman can be hitting him. I've seen women that they will carry. In fact, I think I just said you guys where the man will always beat up his wife, and he got advice from a certain woman whose name shall not be mentioned in this episode. And she told him, wait for him when he comes back and he's drunk. So he was incapacitated to a certain point. And she carried stool and jammed it on his head. The guy passed out. He was in hospital for a week. But he came home and never touched her again. So the only like there are moments where okay, maybe someone who's been pushed to the wall, which is happens to anybody. You be pushed to the wall, you go and find a way to fight back and fight back that in a way that will scare yourself. But you will fight back because it's either well you die under it or you fight back. But on the average, when we are looking on the average biologically, and I don't care what anybody says, because if all of us now we all die off, which is what's going to happen in the next 50 years, okay, let me 70 years, and they start to open up our graves if some of us are buried. Do you know how they're going to differentiate what gender we are? By our pelvis. It doesn't matter what you've now changed on the outside or you've decided to, your pelvis will give you away on what you were born as. So, on the average, based on biological build up, domestic violence Physical domestic violence. Now, I want to be specific. Physical and financial domestic violence affects women a lot more differently than men. And I'll tell you why I chose the two. Physical, because the biological makeup.
Abuse, not
Financial,
violence. Financially, is financial abuse, not violence.
no, financial, no, mm-mm. That's why
Abuse.
I said it is still all domestic violence. It's all under domestic violence. Then there's physical violence. Then there's financial violence, emotional violence, psychological violence. There are different ones under domestic violence. So financial abuse under domestic violence affects women differently to men because in most cases, on the average, the man has the financial power. We know of women, we've heard of women who they are working, but they don't spend a penny of their own salary until the man in the house says, "Oh, yeah, you can take 5 naira from there." They're the ones earning it or is entering their own bank account, but they cannot touch it. And when a man puts a woman in the house and says, "You know what? No money for you," and she's under that mind, because again we have to be thinking of context of where some of these things happen, because there are some of us who will never be abused because of where we are coming from, how we were brought up, that kind of thing. And there are some of us who just unfortunately sort of have it like targets written on our heads, and then there are some people who are happenstance. So those are the things I want us to think about when we are talking about this whole thing, that okay, look at it biologically, genetically, look at it in the places of where people have greater control. How does it affect people? If anybody believes that men still have the same impact, please, I will happily let you, and this time you will be allowed to argue your point without interruption. Oh yeah.
May I ask, when you say less
I
impact,
actually
what do you
think
mean?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
Go,
so
go
that
ahead,
Enuka,
it
wait,
finish.
affects
let's.
women. Oh,
No,
that was a
Enuka, wait,
major
wait,
insult.
wait.
But
No, I'm
okay.
waiting. If I go ahead.
um,
Okay,
my
fine, go
my
ahead.
I viewed the question a different way. I thought the question was
Okay.
going to explore, in as much as we explore how it affects women, and we also
Mm-hmm.
explore how it affects men,
Mm-hmm.
because
Uh-huh.
it's not the same. So that's the
Yes.
thing. So we're not. The question is not comparing if the effect on women or men are the same, or if the effect of women are more than the effect of men. That's not how I viewed the question. I viewed the question that we were going to attack it, that to point out this is how domestic violence affects women. This is how domestic violence affects men. Because the
Okay.
end point of this whole aim is to be able to educate people so that they know when they are going through it.
Okay,
I
I
cannot
will
speak
take that.
for women.
I will
I
take
cannot
that.
speak for
I will
women.
take that.
I cannot speak for women, but I can speak for men in saying that half 99% of the men that go through domestic abuse or violence don't even know. They take it and they brush it up. The only place you see it is when you see it in the beer parlor. So nobody knows about it.
Yeah,
Not one person
Right.
knows about it. When I gave the
absolutely.
example, I said an example of a guy saying, "Hey, bros, I beg now, help me buy this thing," and tell my wife that, now birthday gift for me. And if you look at the guy, if you ask him deeply, he will tell you he's trying to avoid the fight and quarrel, the shout to come for it. The fact that, "Are you stupid? You're buying this is what you're buying in the house when we need all this. This is the stupid thing you're buying." And it goes down to berating him up to the point of you're thinking, if you take a drive with this guy, the guy is now telling you how, these are the things you have to do so that marriage will work. So half the time I can't speak to women because I'm not a woman. Let's maybe put it that way. If I speak to it, it will be what I was told. But I just felt we were going to address this question in such a way that we also see the other side. It's not that it's not affecting more women than men. It's definitely affecting more
And I
women than
said
men.
I agree.
But it
So
is
can
to
you talk
see the
about
other,
it?
like
I
I'm
agree with
talking
what you
about it is
said. So
simple.
talk about it the
One,
way. Mhm.
one of the first things that made me look at this topic when you talk about domestic violence against men, I walked into a library in Edmonton and I went to the toilet. And in the toilet there's a very interesting poster that says, if your wife shouts at you, beats you, it's a bundle of things that you never think they'll do to a man. Please take a slip of this card and call this number. Now, it might be people being naughty, but for each time I went to the library to read for that period, each time they put that card, for each man that most of the men that walked in there picked a card.
Hmm.
They could have been laughing about it. It could be children, it could be friends. But because they were picking a card that made me wonder, okay. And half of them, then I summoned up courage to ask somebody, and the guy works as a social service worker, and he says that why they pick the card, and when you listen to most of the calls, it's not that they want you to do something about it. They just want to they want you to listen to them, and they want to ask, is it okay? Is what I'm going through just for me? Is it normal? Like I said, I cannot speak to the ratio, but I can speak to the fact that a lot of people, because of the way, like you said, we've also been conditioned to take it. If they hit you as a guy, take it. Man off, toughen up, absorb it. Don't say anything about it. Half the time, we don't even know when if what is being done to us is right or wrong. We can't say. We cannot even voice it out if we feel it's wrong, because it all goes down that beer bottle, and we will say, in Igbo, one will understand is in Igbo we say "Woke Ife." We just say that like that's how it is now. The man and his life, so let him just carry it and go. That's the way I approach the question. Does it affect men and women the same? No, it doesn't affect the same way. But with men, what we're seeing is that 99% of them don't even realize what's happening to them. And by the time they realize, they do one of two things. One of two things. That's why you see a man foolishly, stubbornly tell you that he's chasing away his wife and her children. He doesn't want anymore. And you're asking him, what is the problem? He will try to use food. He will try to use the house is not being well kept. But half the time, all he's struggling for is his sanity and his peace. But he can't. He could never have said it. He could not tell it. If you tell, who will you tell that this woman starves you of food? Who will you tell that this woman does not give you this? Who will you tell that you can't really say it? So that's how I see it affect men. And then what does it do later on? It breaks your confidence further down the road. So I see people that when they finally leave whatsoever in quote abusive relationship they have, they don't take the step further to go say hi to somebody else. They just don't do it. They don't do it. They just don't do it. And even when they do it, it also could bring out the other side of the monster, which we now see. He now feels that when he goes into a relationship, he needs to overcompensate, be in control, because he wasn't in control before. So we generally create another monster. Like I said, I cannot speak for women. I can speak to men,
Mm.
but that's what we see. But it's one thing to identify the problem without saying what it is, without continuing. There are certain communities that are beginning to open up where people can come and talk about these things, where it is not just over a bottle of beer, but where people can actually sit down in full circles and say, okay, this is what I'm facing, though. This is how it is. The mistake we've made is that we haven't created those communities. For women, it's easier for the stories to come out. For men, the stories never come out unless the person trusts you well enough to tell you.
Mm.
And if he tells you, most likely he will not tell you again. It will always end in, but leave him at the handle him. No worry, no worry, at the handle him, at the handle him. I got this thing under control. And we now see the end results. High blood pressure. He's just thinking he's going to make a silly mistake of finding the solace in another woman's arms. He will make that silly mistake. And then all of a sudden he comes crumbling down. Of which the last thing that
That's why there
happens
are
is
more
death.
widows than widowers now.
The last thing is death. That's what I have to say. Sorry, let me answer this.
Okay, thank you. Enuka.
Yeah, I like how Ifeanyi tackled it because that was what I was also thinking of. In fact, when we chose the topic, I had listed stories I was going to share about domestic violence. I'm finding more and more that a lot of women over exaggerate or lie about situations in order to make themselves look like the victims. I'm saying this from a point of having seen my male friends go through certain things. So let me share a few stories. I have a friend who called me one day crying uncontrollably. And I asked him what had happened. He said he was out of a job. So he was at home with his wife and two children. And he got a call from someone who he had given his CV to. So this child, his baby was crying. The mother was carrying the baby. He stepped out the balcony to take the call. because the way their house is that the balcony it's cordoned off in a funny way, sha. But you can't get back into the house. Someone has to open the door for you. And he said when he finished that call, he decided since he was already out there, let him make a second call. He now made the second call and then tried to go into the house. His wife was sitting in the living room. She knew he was knocking. She didn't respond to him. He was hitting on the door. She didn't respond to him. After about an hour, because neighbors there calling to find out what was happening, calling her to find out what was happening, she opened the door. He asked her, "Why did you do this?" She didn't respond. He asked her again, "Why did you do this?" He said she hissed as she walked away. He said that normally that she does stuff like this and he just lets it go, but that day he couldn't. He asked her again, "Why did you do this?" And she pushed him and told him, "You're a useless man." He slapped her. He was crying, not just because he slapped her, but because she was carrying his child. This is one of several stories he has told me over the years. I've experienced her once. Another friend of mine,
No, it's all
a
right.
guy,
Oh, thank you so
breadwinner,
much.
brings home the bacon, does everything. Wife doesn't work, hasn't worked in years. He's the full breadwinner. Everything he pays for it. Every goddamn thing that the girl can even wear pants, he pays for it. But the girl doesn't have sex with him. Instead, she says, "Let them pray." They never had a
No
child.
more pants
I'm
for
not joking.
you.
7 years, no child. She has sex with him once, maybe every 3 weeks. She doesn't hug him. She doesn't kiss him. And he's a
And he's
touchy,
buying
touchy.
pants for her. You go, yeah,
I'm
should
just
be in
trying
the
to say.
wood.
This is terrible.
So this is just that's the things that he's told me. I can't even say half of it outside. She won't cook for him. He eats Indomie when he gets home. He has to cook the Indomie, but he gives an upkeep money, the upkeep allowance every month to this girl. My opinion, the girl is still there because she probably doesn't have anywhere to go or doesn't have anybody else that will do half the crap he's done for her because the boy is her sissy. These are just two examples.
Apostle, we hear of this.
There's something that
Stop.
Ifeanyi said about Woke Nife. A lot of men internalize their pain and they're not able to share it. And then when they finally do leave those bad situations, they put themselves through this, "it can never happen to me again." That women also do it to themselves. That, "Oh, I have to be strong, I have to be this." And then we overcompensate. And then we don't have the opportunity to have better experiences because we're trying to shield ourselves from the bad one. I'm currently reading a book. It didn't start with you, but I think a guy called Mark Wayton talking about how family trauma can affect people. I listen to a few women and they'll tell you things like, women are not good, oh," or they'll tell you, every man is a bastard. It's trauma and it's coming from somewhere. And we don't know, and a lot of us repeat this trauma and we pass it on to our own children, pass it on to our forebears. And it's repetitive. It is unfortunate that we don't even, many of us don't stop to think, "Oh, what is happening here? And why do I have this repetitive behavior?" I know that most people will hear about someone like a Johnny Depp and an Amber Heard because I read some of the things Bobby put up on Facebook. And to them, it's like, how could it? It's not possible. It's not possible. But because I have experienced a friend of mine, quiet guy, actually always been quiet from primary school. I can't say it because Ron is here. And he one day explained to me how he cut off contact with so many people. I realized most people that were his friends didn't know where he was and everything. Why did he do that? Because his wife was very insecure. He cut off everybody in his life. But guess what? She didn't cut off one person. Now, let me support something Ifeanyi said with this story. A cab man once said to me, "You will know the sort of woman you marry when you want to do something for your family, she's giving you advice. But when you're doing it for her own family, she's not giving you any advice." As women, we also have to do better and call out other women who do these things. cry for wolf when when there's no problem, just to make themselves look like the victim. We need to do better. Now, this is not saying that I take the side of men. Yes, there are different kinds of domestic violence. I don't know what I'm discussing with any human being that the human being will raise their hand to come and hit me. We will die together. Financial abuse is the most rampant abuse that I've seen, that occurs. I've seen it recently again happen to a woman that's close to me. But we too, it's just in using Ron's example of a woman owns a bank, but she has more male employees. So she should just have employ somebody because when the person doesn't have the qualifications, she's into business. No sentiments there. If it's men that will give
That's where
men,
I was going to. God bless you.
no
What you
sentiments
just said
there.
was
And
where I
I'm
was
not
going
going
to.
to employ you based on your gender or based on
Or
your whatever.
genitals.
That's
Exactly, based on
exactly.
your genitals.
Hey, look at.
That's money,
You
oh, and
see,
I'm an Igbo woman. We're there to make the money. We're not there
you
to be
see.
sentimental about it. Ego
It's
kaina
even
too.
an Igbo woman self. It's an Igbo woman. So
Can't blame the
you
woman.
see why it's good for you to send your children to the primary school me and Enuka went to. They try to expand the horizon and let us
Oh,
see things
Jesus.
in 3D and multicolor
Sorry,
Even though I
vision.
rolled my eyes. So
Abby,
yeah,
are you listening?
sorry, I'm falling down. I
Abby,
need to put off the video.
pele
oh,
pele,
Just
pele
sorry,
pele.
no, it's
sorry.
okay. It's okay. It's okay. Continue talking. I'm listening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so I
I
was saying
do
that you see
agree.
why it's good to send children to the school me and Enuka went to. It broadens your horizon. It makes you see life in 3D. In fact, I was tempted to tell if I that both of us should log out and just leave Enuka to continue the show. Because there's nothing to continue to. Hey, believe, oh,
Hey,
believe.
just use it
Okay,
for
I've
your side.
muted her.
Hey,
I've
see,
muted her. So,
at the end of the day, I'm glad that this is a topic that we're thinking about. I like how Ifeanyi tackled it. A lot of women are guilty of it. Your husband comes home, he's not cooked when he's providing the money for you to cook. He wants to buy something, he can't buy it because it will cause problems. Yes, sometimes I understand that there might be other things that are outstanding, but still, that's why there has to be a budget. You can't run a home without a budget, without an agreement that this is what you will spend. You have to have me money. Money that if you decide that all you want to do is go and cut the money up and pour on your body, it's your money. You have to have it. It's good for your ego, it's good for everybody. I mean, I still see people, I've heard someone say, oh, but when I have my own money, I still need to buy something for my children. And I told her, it's your choice. You have to take care of yourself because you're born out for these kids. I have a friend, she's about our age, me around age. But she had a child when we were teenagers. So her son is grown. Her son just stay NYSC. Every month, this boy gives his mother 100K from the salary he's making. Every month. And he gives it to her with a warning. Don't share it with people. This is just for you. This is you money. You money. If you want to go out for a drink, it is you money. It's your money to take to go out for a drink. If you want to buy a dress, buy yourself something. If you want to do something, do it for yourself. A lot of us have to learn that you need your own money for your own personal enjoyment. Years ago, when I still had some time, every Friday I would sit down and drink a bottle of.
You guys
ah,
come up.
what happened?
Yeah, she just went
I
out.
know
I'm not sure why.
all these witches online are not happy with all these witches online are not happy with Enuka's submission, and they don't like the direction in which any witch that is disturbing Enuka, Enuka
What?
is submission.
It's not about which disturbing. Okay,
Continue.
Sorry.
good that she's back.
No, no, no. It's
Don't
okay.
mind all those
I've
witches
actually
that want you
finished.
out. Uh-huh.
What did you say?
I was
All
gonna
those
say that it's
witches.
not. I was gonna say that the angle that Inuka is going is even far away from Ifeanyi. And but all I'm saying is the topic really is that
Have
if
you eaten
violence,
again?
yes, no, I'm snacking actually, not eating. So does domestic violence affect men and women the same way?
Of course not.
So in this context, it means that both men and women are abused, but there is always domestic violence. So both
Of course.
parties. If I get this right, so I stand to be corrected. But does it affect them the same way?
Of course not.
Can a man walk out of something if he's been domestically abused?
I think it's more
Or
difficult for the man to leave
why?
You gonna
because
keep me
you
here
find a
today.
lot
Oh.
of the
You gonna
men,
keep me here
a,
today.
Eh?
a lot of the men that I know personally that are
Mm-hmm.
going through this tend to be extremely responsible men,
No,
and a
but
lot of them.
still, sorry, Anuka, because what we are saying is that, um, looking at it from the perspective, if a woman is being abused, yeah, we will say, don't die there. If your man is
But if the
abusing
man
you,
leaves, they'll say he's a deadbeat dad. It's because of another woman. The truth will never be told. It's unfortunate
And
that this is what it is. The truth will never be told. If a man leaves when his wife is being abusive and she doesn't have children, oh, he left because she's barren. But there is
Enuka
no
pointed
truth.
something. Enuka pointed something that is very true too. Enuka pointed something that is very true too. When she mentioned that the men in this case are responsible, the problem is when
Many
they
of
leave,
them.
they feel that they failed. Half of those men can't leave because they don't want
Yes,
to fail. The
yes,
stigma in them failing is
yes,
what makes them stay. So it's harder for them
yes.
to walk away from it. Because
and,
half
and
the
you
time,
Exactly.
think, on the flip side that the women that are staying don't think of that same stigma.
that's why we said if we read the question, we said, does it affect men and women the same way? And I'm saying no, I
No.
cannot really tell you how it affects women. We can say you guys can tell me how it affects women, but how it affects
Mm-hmm.
men, we're now seeing that there are men that can't even leave. The misconception is you think he can walk away from that abuse, but he can't even leave because in his mind he is meant. See, most of these people were raised by amazing fathers, amazing parents,
and
and to
and it's
them
the same
living
thing.
is
See
failing.
what
Hold on, living is
if
failing, and
go
if
on.
they fail, they'll never come back again. So they never get it back again. So all
that
I'm
that
just
that's
point,
it.
all she's pointing to is that it's different. It affects them different, but we see that the outcome of an abused person always comes to the same point. You are broken.
Exactly. So
So
Always comes to the
which
same
is where
point.
I'm going.
Harvey,
Yeah,
let me
go on,
add something
go
to
on.
what you said. I spoke to
Mm.
an older friend. This man
Mm-hmm.
is in his 80s.
Bumi,
And I
you're
asked him,
muted.
so I spoke to an older friend. This man is in his 80s. And I asked him how he was coping with the situation I knew he was in with his wife. They've been married for 40 something years. And his
Mm-hmm.
response was, how many more years do I have for her to disturb me? So he had come to a point where his children
Mm-hmm.
are grown. He didn't leave because he didn't want to leave his children with her.
Mm-hmm.
But he's now at the point where I'll soon die. So all this madness will stop. I cried
All
that
I'm
day.
saying, I understand what you're saying because what both of you are saying is that you're just establishing the fact that both men and women are, they are in an abusive relationship or whatever, and they can't leave because of one thing or the other. But we are saying that it affects them differently. So you've told me how it affects men, but are you saying that it doesn't affect women in the same vein as well?
But that's what we had already said. I don't think it affects men in the same way. Again, I'm not the women that get hit are neither, in my opinion, doesn't mean that they're irresponsible or they're responsible. It's just because they're with a fucking predator. Sorry. But most men who go through abuse that I know are usually extremely responsible men who will chest it. Because if that man was not chesting it, now beat go beat the woman. But a lot of men that I know that have gone through
Mm-hmm.
stuff like this, they hold themselves back, they restrain themselves, and they stay there for years. For
And
years. That,
I
I'm not.
understand the
No, no. You,
perspective
you
that
want to ask
you are
again
going.
that so how does am I saying it affects them differently? And I'm still saying yes,
No, no,
because the
no, no.
woman
I'm
who
not
is
asking
being hit,
again.
okay, because the woman
I'm
who
not.
is
I'm not.
being hit
See,
is not
yeah.
because she's responsible or irresponsible. She's just being hit because her partner likes to hit. But some women
Okay.
use their mouth
Okay.
to be putting themselves into trouble. Me, as I am now, 40
As a
plus, I
liberty. So
cannot see
if your
somebody.
mouth,
Jesus is Lord.
Wait,
I
Enuka, what
cannot
did you
see.
just say?
What?
Honestly, I'm so disappointed.
They are going
Like, what
to
the fuck
banish
is
you from all
going
the
on
feminist group
today?
from this night. This
I
night,
feel
they are
like
going to
I've
banish
walked
you
into
from
the
all the
twilight
feminist group.
zone.
They are no longer
No, no,
you're
no, but we
officially
don't feel
banished
like that.
from the,
Please just
you're
listen.
officially
Hear
Ah,
me
no,
banished
out.
no,
from
no,
the
no. I can't
Hear
feminist
believe
me
that
out.
just dropped out of your mouth.
Hear me
They are
out. Hear
banishing
me
you
out.
from all the
Hear me out.
feminist group. Oh,
I
Seriously.
have
banished.
wait. No, think of no.
This
Listen.
whole conversation has just gone left. If I completely hijacked it, but it's okay.
Hold on, you see,
Leave
for
Ifeanyi now.
me,
What
No,
if I do?
for
it,
They
me.
won't
if
stop in Ifeanyi.
if I
Why
just
are
said that,
you doing?
if I just said that, at the end of the day, what happens is that both are broken. And when we started the show, I told you that actually, at the end of the day, one dies more often than the other. And that was I
Yes,
remember everyone who asked this question. This was
Yeah,
before
you
I
said
brought
that.
it up. That we have to stop equating domestic. Hold on, let me
Before
finish.
you go off in a tangent, hold on. Let me stop before you
I'm
go off in
not
a
going
tangent
off
because
on
this
a
is not
If
tangent.
fair.
I
You
let
No,
him
people
no,
let
have
her
gone
no.
off
finish
on a
now.
No,
This
I have
tangent.
to
time, let
stop this
her
one. No,
finish.
I have to
I
stop this
brought
one. I
up
have to
the
stop this one.
conversation
I
because
have to
I
stop this
wanted to
one
make.
because Bumi's about to go off in a tangent. Bumi, what I said,
It's
and I'll
not a
say it plainly,
tangent.
what I said at the
You're
end
answering
of
the
it,
wrong question.
both are
You people are
abused.
answering the
Both
wrong
are
question.
abusing
I am the
people.
one who
okay,
asked the
Abusing
okay,
question.
people
okay,
are
I know
okay,
the
abused.
question
okay,
I asked.
Both
okay,
are
okay.
abused.
Hold
I know
on,
the question
hold
I
on,
asked. That was
Abused
not
Ifeanyi,
the
hold
women.
question
on.
I asked.
Jeez.
Okay,
Fine.
then you have to mute both of
I
them.
did not.
Both are
I did not
abused.
want a
Jeez,
pity party
man.
for men today. I'm so sorry
I
that we had the Me Too movement,
oh
and that
God,
for five
man.
fucking
That
seconds, you people are no
that's what I
gods.
said,
Like,
Bumi.
what
That's
the
why I said
entire
I
point?
don't
No,
I'm
condone
talking
but
about the fact that
Bumi,
nonsense.
women
Calm
die from
down.
domestic violence.
Bumi,
Women die from
Calm
domestic violence, and
down.
it just trumps
Oh
all this
God.
nonsense.
yeah, Bumi, both parties
Oh,
die.
Yeah,
like
women die more than men. This was how I started. That no, women, the number one killer of women is men. But I guess that's not that
Yes.
important. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
that's a
I
nice
don't have
thing.
the statistics, but I can
This
believe
is
it.
this is this is DJ Ron.
No, no, but seriously, if we're talking in general terms, I think what Bumi is saying, in all fairness, to be candid, honestly, what I was trying to get from Enuka is that the way that we are equating it is like maybe because of the friends that you've got and the fact that you said that they're responsible men and all of that, but the statistic is still very, very little compared to what is happening in general terms. So that's why I'm
Possibly,
trying to
yes.
get that. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get that fact. But are you saying because in general terms, you most men when they are doing that, they're like, oh, I can't leave, and I'm like, okay, why can't you leave? Because the same thing we are saying to women who are being domestically abused. You're saying, oh, I can't leave because of my kids. I can't leave because of what people will say. I can't leave because of my because of something, whatever, because I'm a very good person. Women are responsible as well, but they can't leave because of all those things. So what makes it different? Which is what Bumi is saying that it happens to women more. She's not saying it doesn't happen to men, but it
I'm
happens
not
to
saying
women
that it
more.
doesn't happen to women more. I
I'm saying
agree.
okay.
we
What
die.
we
I'm
what
saying
we were saying,
we're at a
because I was answering it.
dysfunctional
Hold on,
rate.
I was
Why can
answering it
nobody
to
fucking hear
follow.
me?
Bumi, what were
Bumi,
you
I
calm
saying?
brought this
down.
up because we
Uh, the
I
approach to this
brought this
question wasn't
conversation up for
about
one reason
numbers.
and one
It
reason
wasn't
alone. While
numbers.
domestic violence towards men is bad, they don't die the way we fucking die. We can't keep talking about this as though it's the same. It is not the same. Women die in huge fucking numbers. We even had to come up with a word for it, femicide. That's how bad it is. So when we're talking about domestic violence, and I'm talking specifically about physical domestic violence towards men, yes, it's bad, but it is nowhere comparable to what is happening to women. Not even a little
Okay,
bit. And I cannot believe men then hijack this whole conversation to make it about themselves. And who is
okay,
treating you
so Bumi,
badly when I'm talking about the fact that women die in huge
okay,
numbers?
so Bumi, are you talking about mainly physical violence?
Yes, I mean, of course,
Okay, so
everything
okay,
you guys have
so
said today is true and it's on point, and we should talk about what men go through. But you cannot make that trump the fact that women die, especially when that was the point of the question.
okay,
I asked
so
the
there's
question.
yes, but there's no way we will know from the question that that was the point of the question. So now, if we're
I
talking
explained
about the
it in
fact,
the WhatsApp group now. Oh my
okay,
god, it's
maybe
so
I didn't read that.
painful. And if I turns around and says that it all ends up the same, we all end up broken. No, if that was the case, I would not have brought up the question. We don't. Women, we end up dead. We end up dead all the
And
time.
unfortunately, women are the ones that are the caterers and they pass on the trauma to their children.
So
I see what you are
sorry.
saying. I understand what you are saying.
Let me say this. Sorry, let me say this. Bumi, I'm in love with you. But for crying out loud, today, just stop and listen to me. Don't focus on me. I'm in love
I've
with you,
been
but stop.
listening. You
No,
people are
no,
just
you
going off,
haven't. You
doing a
haven't. You
pity party
haven't.
for
You
men.
haven't.
I,
No,
It's like,
I
what
like
is
I like how
Bumi,
I
you
like how you
haven't
started. I'm
listened.
in love with you.
Just stop. I'm in love with you. Just stop and listen to me. Stop. Don't say anything. If I
I've
And
was
this
been
your
is
husband, this is
listening.
what I'll do. See,
and
if I
his
was your
wife is
husband,
just sitting
see,
beside him when he's
if I was
making
your
this
husband, you
public
know what I'll do?
declaration.
If I was your husband, I'll take you out. We'll go for dinner. We'll not say a word. We'll come back, have a bottle of wine, and watch Netflix. Anything you want to watch. But please don't say a word. Just listen. That's all I've been
Kai.
trying to do. Just
You're
listen.
being condescending. Have I not been listening to
As
all
in
the
that's
other
why I
women
just
that
said
have been
Kai, I
speaking?
kept
And
quiet.
one of you
God,
brought up that point. From the beginning of the conversation, you people don't listen to me. The first thing I said was that women die at the hands of men. You went off that topic. If you took it off that topic, you took it to jobs, you took it to this, you took it to that. I let you people talk. You went on and on about how men suffer. Oh, poor men, they suffer, they suffer. Me who asked the question, I bring it up again. You're telling me I'm going off tangent. Okay, I'll just listen from now on. I've made my point. The point was that women die. But domestic violence is bad to both men and women, but it is worse to women because we fucking die. That's
Did
the
you also
point.
get? Did you also get the point that I'm in love with you and I love you?
If you are
yeah.
doing it again, you don't seem to understand.
I actually understand.
How sweet.
Are you listening to the Indian love song? Okay, so back to the
Ron, you are not
serious.
okay.
Ron, you're not funny. You're not funny. You're just
Me,
borderline misogynist at this point because you only
me,
upload the things
I'm
that
not
don't
funny.
that
How
yes.
can you say I'm
Me
not
and
funny?
Enuka are the only two who are always unbiased. We don't just side with women because we're women. We side with whoever we
How
think we
can you
like.
say?
But Ron, you never ever try to even be objective.
Wait,
All you
it's
want is to
Osifani you
push
are
the male
attacking, or
agenda.
wait,
You are convinced that it is males that are
wait,
under
is it
attack
fine?
when
Bumi,
nothing
is it
supports
fine?
that. Nothing supports
Bumi,
that.
I
But
don't support
continue.
Ifeanyi again. I don't support Ifeanyi again. I don't support Ifeanyi again. Ifeanyi, you are guilty. Okay, now back to what I was saying. Bumi, how can you accuse me of not being funny when everybody wants the show?
So your
They
problem
want
is
us to
that
see
she's
us.
saying you're not funny. That's the
But
problem this night.
she just
Oh
deflated
my
my
Ron.
spirit. She
Good.
deflated my spirit. You know, I was in
Good.
high spirit, but she just deflated me. How can she say I wasn't funny? All this hard
Anything
work I'm
that
doing to make Bumi laugh. She just said it's not funny. Anyway, who wants to contribute before I
no,
do
it's a
Guys,
very
I
one
want to
serious
one
say,
explain?
matter that we cannot equate these two
excuse me,
things.
oh, excuse me. So after all the declaration of love me have done for Ifeanyi, is Bumi that you went to fall in love with. Hey, God in heaven, you they see I'm so. You they see I'm so.
Okay, who wants to talk before I
And it
enter
was
the wrong
even
section?
publicly, oh. It's not an hidden thing. Very public.
And
Imagine,
his
oh,
wife is in
the
the same
very
room with
first
him.
day, the very first day Ifeanyi came, I said I wanted to marry him. Everybody said, hey, he's a married man. I kept quiet. Now he might marry before.
Why are you guys so upset with us? You run the world, you have why are you so mad? Why can you not give us anything?
And
Nothing.
now because we are no
You're
longer
fighting us
sitting
for
in the
every small
kitchen.
thing.
For me, they're angry at us because we are no longer sitting in the kitchen and waiting for the Lord and Master to arrive from wherever he is, so that we can take his coat and his bag, run in a hot
Especially that
bath.
run. And he knows how to go and find people just like him. And
Ah,
Ifan has shown that he's just like Ron today. It's only Mr.
You
H
see
that is
the
how?
neutral
pepper.
out of all of you.
Ifeanyi has always been very objective, oh. Very, very objective.
Well, not today, he hasn't.
Well, throughout today,
Because
I've been very objective. To me, even you can swear that I haven't even raised my voice in all of this at you throughout today. And you can't, if you go back in your heart of hearts and think about it, I haven't used any language that you go back and think I did not love you throughout today. Think about it.
see,
Okay,
Aww.
I'm
Oh,
the
How
one.
oh
sweet.
your love,
Yeah, but it's
that.
true
oh,
now. It's true.
Oh
But
your
it's
love,
true.
your love.
I
that's
didn't hear.
very
I didn't
touchy,
hear
It's
Bumi.
him.
true.
But
Get
it's
out
Bumi,
okay.
here.
that was
Me that
very
been loving
touchy.
you since. You did not love me. Get out.
Get
Bumi,
that.
that was a very touchy remark, honestly. You need to hug him, honestly.
I didn't hear what he said. Sorry.
No,
What
it
did you
was a
say?
very
Somebody tell me
touchy.
now.
Can't you see tears in my eyes? The thing was so touchy that tears almost kept me. Very touching.
Look, on a serious note,
No, but
guys,
but no,
domestic
but
violence
speaking
is
but
bad
speaking
for
to
men,
but
but
speaking to no, but speaking to what we were saying, like I said, when I made my address, what I addressed was I addressed the question and I specifically said I cannot speak for women. And I addressed the question with the hope that I thought this question was about, okay, this is how it affects men, and you show us this is how it affects women, and we end up with how it affects. And when I ended up the statement, what I said was, at the end of whatever abuse it is, the person is broken. Now, broken could mean death. If I didn't know what the context you were asking about, who dies more? If the question had said, who dies more from domestic violence, men or women, we won't be
It's
having this
obviously
conversation.
women.
If we go, the question has said, who suffers more domestic violence, men or women? We will not be having this conversation. If the question says, how does it appear more between men or women? We will not be having this conversation. But the question says, does it affect men or women the same way? And I said,
So
hey,
it
this
is
is how it
answered.
affects
You did
men,
not construct
and
the
this is
question
how that's
well.
how it is. That's how it is. So that's it.
This is
That's what the question says.
exactly what this is exactly what Bumi dictated for me, and I typed. I didn't even ask Jara.
yes, it's true, and I take responsibility for that part. Maybe the question wasn't clear, but I was trying to be clear from the moment I got on. You wouldn't listen. You wouldn't listen, and then you accuse me of not listening.
Bumi, could you just calm
But
down?
let's
It's
let it go.
okay.
It's okay. It's
Thank you.
okay. Move on. I'm
If I stop telling
mentally
women to
tired.
calm down,
In
Didn't say
fact,
it from
I
that
was I
part.
was just
I said
waiting
it
for
from
you
the
to
part of. I
close.
said, hold on. I'll say it from the part of. If she was here, I'll probably hug her and then do what she wants me to
she
do.
doesn't
Not
want your
conversation of
hug.
calm
Stop
down.
telling women to calm
Okay.
down.
And look, I'm sorry.
If
Okay, has
They are not.
everybody contributed? Has
Uh,
everybody
thank you.
contributed? Has everybody
no, me,
contributed?
I'm still upset that if I loves Bumi instead of me. Oh,
Wait, I
Abby, I'm
want to go
sorry
into my
now.
segment,
Abby,
and
I'm
when I
sorry.
go in, no interruptions.
We shall run
Okay,
it,
Has
please.
everybody contributed?
before you go, oh,
Run it,
actually, you know
please.
what?
Oh
It's
God.
not necessary because I think Abe and Anuka did it justice, and I think everybody knows now that it's not that women are not supporting women. I really hate those kinds of terms. It's like when they say that black on black violence, it inflate. People say those things, and it's designed to it's not true, and it's an insult, like as if we're just crazy people who don't deserve good things because we don't know what to do with it. At least from what you guys have said, we're getting to a better place where we know that a lot of times it's just the logistics. There just aren't that many women for you to hire, and but there was something else I wanted to say about that, which is the idea of tokenism, which is very, very different from a natural and organic change. So when you force, oh, we want to have the first woman president, or we want to have the first black president, but the society is not ready, it tends to backfire. You find that that's the only person that's there, and they cannot do anything that is peculiar to their gender or to their race or whatever it is, because it's just them. It's better when it grows organically, where there's a lot of a lot of women in parliament, not just one, or a lot of black men in whatever, not just one. That's when you really get the effect of that person being there. But often in society, we push for that one first person, or we put so much pressure, so much on that sometimes it even backfires. You find out that it will take years before another token person will come up if society is not ready for it. So a lot of these things is going on. We can't just say that women don't support women. That's unfair, not true. And that's without even talking about the fact that there aren't that women that are as qualified. And also the fact that society doesn't make it easy for women to just make their career a priority. So if I'm running a place that requires me to have 300 people, I know they can't. If half of them are women, I'm probably going to be dropping the ball, because women are the ones that have to stay home with the kids. Their kids are sick. Their mother died. Kiniko, kiniko. Society does not make it easier for women. So you shouldn't say
Sorry,
okay.
that
before I
ever
start.
again,
Sorry,
Ron.
before I start. Sorry, Abby,
No,
wait,
before
before
you
I
start,
start.
Ron, I
Wait,
want to say something. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry that you can't see my face. I'm actually in a bad state, but I can still join you. Now, I want to say something. Earlier today, we were having a conversation about there was a skit that was done where a woman was having an argument with her husband, and her friend came and said, "Leave him, stupid man. How can you cheat? How can you cheat on your wife, sir? Why can you cheat on your wife, sir?" And even before we got to the middle of the thing, I was like, a wife, if your friend who is still calling your husband, sir, when you are angry at him, you better be careful, you know. And later on, she packed her, she helped her friend to pack her load out of the house. And later on, the friend met at the bus stop. She was heavily pregnant. It's like, imagine, oh, you helped me to pack out of my husband's house and you never even looked back to see how I was doing. She said, hey, my sister, don't vex, so it's life, oh. So while she was talking with her, the partner for the pregnant woman came, her friend, and he happened to be her ex-husband. And she was like, and the husband was like, well, you didn't need me and everything. And of course, people started saying, hey, you see, women are women's worst enemies. And I said, wait a minute. A man who sees a woman helping his wife pack out of his house, and then she comes back, and that is the woman he decides to then marry and have in his house. That woman, it's not because the woman is smart, it's because the man already has no morals, he's loose. Because if someone actively joined hands to destroy your home, why would you want to have anything to do with them?
Why do we
If
assume that breaking up means that the home is destroyed? You know how strong the home can get when two crazy people are no longer together.
well,
But I
let's
digress.
even
Go on.
now.
Go
But
on.
I'm going by the premise of the skit now, because people are like, women and women's worst enemy, and I said, no, 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 no. Let's remove whether women, because at the end of the day, if that man was worth his salt and it was like, okay, I did something wrong, I need to go back and beg my wife and sort things out, then the space for the friend who joined hands in cutting his wife's things out of the house will not open up. I can't imagine me being married now with my husband, and his friend comes and actively gets him out of the house when there's still love there. I'm trying to get him back on site, but then the friend say, no, 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 leave her. And then the friend comes back and says, oh, so hello, baby, how you doing? And how about I take you for lunch? Do I even want to see you? You understand what I'm saying? Do I even want to see you? Do I want to cross the street and ever smell you? No. But you see, and I said this is one of those tired tropes that are being trotted out to us women to convince us that we are each other's worst enemies. But
Yeah, so we are the ones
that
that need to work on ourselves to
but
make
no,
sure we
no,
don't
no.
fall into
I
that
read
silly trap.
something recently. I read something recently. You are the sum average of the people you surround yourself with. You are
Well
actually the
said.
average of the people you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with women who are willing to stab you in the back, break your bone, then what kind of person are you? But
Abby, you're just making excuses for the situation. You've not made everything you're saying is you're making statements, then you're making excuses for those statements. You've
what am
not
I
really
making?
passed
What
any
I'm
message.
no, 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 no.
You're
I'm not
just
making
making
excuses.
excuses.
How am I making
Excuses.
excuses? I'm telling you
Everything
about
you've
the
just
conversation.
said are called excuses.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you
Excuses.
for saying the excuses. But what I'm saying is, in the process of having the conversation, I said, "Well, women, you want to tell me because some women were like, yes, it's true, women are," and I said, "You want to tell me that you don't know at least five women who have lifted you up in your life?" And I said, I do now. I said, well, why don't we focus on those people? Let's start again. That narrative can be changed in 5 years. Is a gradual thing.
To be
But
fair,
when we
women
start
do.
to actually change the narrative one by one, eh?
To be
So
fair,
you were
women do actually fuck each other's shit up, but there's a reason. Oppressed people often do that. It's the same way
I'm
that
not
it's
even
that whole
denying that
house
they
nigga
do that.
thing. But it's
I'm not
not
denying
inherent
that
in
they
us.
do
It's
that.
because we're subjugated. A perfect example is when they talk about the Eastern women, and when they're trying to change property inheritance laws, and the mothers won't agree, even though it benefits the wives because they've already you look at these things and it may seem as though women don't support each other, but honestly, when you are the oppressed one, that's the nature of your relationship. It's always you're trying to get close to power. You're trying to get close back for your own survival. So we do end up stabbing each other in the back sometimes. It's true, but it's not because it's inherently in us. It's because of the situation that we're in. If we could go into different societies, you find that the more wretched women are, the more that is going on, and the more free they are, the more independent they are, the less of that is going on. That's just like normal human behavior. But the office one, that's not women tearing each other down. That's just the logistical thing, in my opinion.
Anyways, that was all I was saying. As I said, I discussed with women earlier today, and we said, you know what? Instead of focusing on the women who are pulling other women down, let's start focusing on the women who actually support other women
Absolutely.
and try and lift them up. And I've come across a few. I've come across and Ron, you know it. I've come across women who have stabbed me in the back, but I've also come across women who have been my greatest support, and I choose to focus on those women than the negative.
Exactly.
And that's how we can change this story, you know?
Can I?
And what
Can I?
men
Can I?
do and what the patriarchy does is they focus on the worst of us and try to make it seem like we're just bad and not that
Yep.
we're responding to the environment that we're in.
Okay. I wanted to ask Bumi a question. When you said that they are not going to employ unskilled women or logistical issues, so what is your solution? That okay, now you've agreed that they are not qualified to fill the space, right? So what do you
Yeah.
expect to happen?
It's what Abby has been saying all along that these things take time, these things take time. This thing has to start from the home. We do not raise our sons and daughters the same way. So therefore they're not prepared for the same opportunities. We prepare girls for specific jobs in life and specific roles in life in a way that we don't for men. For boys we tell them that the world is their oyster. Like even to how we raise our toddlers. We will allow little boys to take risks on the slide that will not allow little girls to do. So when it comes to things like being a stockbroker, a girl doesn't have the liver for that kind of thing. You've protected her whole life. You've kept her in a cocoon. You can't then push her into the world and tell her, go and fight and compete and take risks. She hasn't been raised that way, and
Okay.
that's even the
Okay.
good situation. Not to talk of the bad situations where people are poor and the girl is just stuck at home. If somebody has to be a caretaker, it's going to be the girl. If you have to sacrifice going to school, it's going to be the girl. If somebody has to not be able to do their schoolwork so that they can help at home, it's going to be the girl. So we can't expect that they will have the same level of boys and girls that can do engineering when we raise them so differently.
Can I say something? And
No.
I need to counter what you just said. First and foremost, in the last 30 years, right? This imbalance of boys and girls in the classroom has been existing as far back as 30 years. And luckily for me on this platform, Enuka used to be my classmate in primary school. Luckily for me. So I don't need to go too far to ask these questions. Enuka, in more than often in classes you went through in primary school, up to ISL, up to Unilag, were there always more boys or did you have more girls?
I can't remember, but let me talk about university. More boys.
Okay, university is difficult to calculate because of departments, right?
You said my class, and I answered
No,
for my class.
sorry. Uh, which class were you in?
I
Department.
read political science, social sciences.
So that's not. I believe you. Okay, but I'm just giving a general scope from basic.
I'm an
I'm just trying to.
engineer, and I can tell you that it's still mainly a
Women
girls'
don't
field.
do STEM now. Even till
That's what
today,
I'm
they don't do
saying.
STEM.
But Ron, you make it seem like it's because we can't. And I'm trying to tell you that it's not because we can't. It's because of how we're socialized. To do STEM requires a certain way of thinking that we don't encourage in girls.
I'm coming there. Okay,
I
let
agree.
me go. Everybody
But
has
let me
spoken.
say something. I'm
Okay,
sorry,
say
Ron.
something
Let
before
me
you go.
okay, let me
Say
explain
something.
something. So, with my
Say
stint in
something.
education, I don't see what you're talking about. But I'll tell you, I did a course that I really liked, which was the survey of the educational plans in Nigeria. And you could see from the history of those plans that a lot of women, the girl child just didn't go to school. And we know that is why we always have girl child initiatives saying that the girls should go to school, because the girl is always the impact. During
Yep,
wars, is women and children. So
exactly.
women are always the targets when they want to ruin a society. Now, until Nigeria gets to the point where they realize that they have to bring up the girl child, bring up women and protect women, we're still going to be this quagmire. If you like, roll your eyes until they come out of your socket, yeah? Okay.
No, 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 no. I'm not even. It's not you. I'm watching the monitor up.
Uh,
So for me, I think that I agree with what Bumi is saying. I agree that women are brought up in a very different way. I agree that women women experience things differently from men, I agree 1,000,000% that because we've not had a certain exposure, it's more difficult for us to do certain things. Take, for instance, in academia, there are more men than there are women, because women were not really taken too seriously. Plus, for you to do a doctorate degree, to do a PhD, if you are married, you need your spouse, whether you are male or female, to support you through it. How many men will take up their wives' responsibilities or protect their wives in order to let their wives go to school?
Exactly.
So what we're saying is actually fact. It's actually fact. You can even take it any university in Nigeria. When they say lecturers should come out, you see how many women are in academia. You know how stressful academia is?
Yeah, I
And
know. So have you
sometimes
finished?
it's the
So
small things as well. I read about
so
a
Have
study
you
so
that said
finished?
that
I wanted to say something to that this thing. Like I've always said, and this is what made me a Bumi
I will
Koya.
answer
When you
it.
talk about context, I'll ask this question: in all low-income countries across the world today, how many girls finish primary school? In all low-income countries across the world today, how many girls finish primary school? And your answers
I don't
are
know, but I know
your
it's going to be
hold on.
lower
Your
than
options
boys.
your options are 20%, 40%, or 60%. Pick one.
I
Is
have
this a
no
guessing
idea,
game?
honestly.
No,
I
it's not
just
a
know
guessing
that it's
game. You
going to
just
be
pick one.
lower
Just
than
pick
Multiple
one.
male
options.
boys.
Multiple options. Just pick one. In all low-income
I'll take
countries,
two.
how many girls finish primary school? A is twenty
I'll take two.
percent, B is 40%, C is 60%. Which one? How many
I'll
girls
take
do you
two.
think? You take what?
If I
Two.
need me, I'm angry with you. I'm not doing anything. No.
Sorry. No, it's just good to just take any percentage. Ron, pick
I
one.
said C, 50.
It's like
60.
60%. 60%. Okay.
Yeah, 60.
Interestingly enough, that is correct. Why? It said more than half of the girls in low-income countries finish primary school. Now, UNESCO and the World Bank calculated the so-called low-income countries, and it's actually higher than what we said. It's 63.2%. Now, there is a study that says for boys, it is 59.1%.
That's
Nobody ever thought
impossible.
about it.
You're
That's
misunderstanding
the thing.
something.
No,
It's
but here's the thing.
impossible,
Here's the thing.
Ifine.
No,
It's impossible.
hold on. When I fed this premise, what my premise was that we've been calculating this thing. The reason why there is data is that you know what has moved forward. We had dinosaurs. We no longer have dinosaurs.
This is
We
why I
had
got
this
upset.
stats.
You
We no
cannot
longer
bring up
had
something
this
that is
stats.
clearly factually impossible
Oh,
and try to
jeez.
tell us that
Okay.
it's right because you read it
Well, it's
somewhere. That is
statistics now. It's
It's
data
impossible.
statistics.
science
It is
now.
not anything.
It's
I'm just saying
statistics now.
that
What else can
what
we
we
go by?
know, we just challenge it.
It is
I didn't say.
statistically true that
I didn't
more
say.
boys
I
finish
didn't say.
primary school
Listen.
than girls in low income countries. Come on. Common sense alone will tell you that that cannot be true.
Is it common
Uh-uh.
More
sense
girls
alone?
finish.
We're
More
not saying
girls
common sense
finish.
alone again. We're not saying common sense alone again. For me, I'm no longer
We're in
arguing. When we
2022.
started, I
Oh.
didn't
We're
argue
not
with
in the dark
common sense.
ages.
I didn't
Okay,
argue with
guys,
common
it's
sense.
11
That's my
p.m. I have
point.
work tomorrow morning. I have to sign out.
Ah, look, I don't go.
I have to go. I'm up at 5 and I still need my beauty sleep.
Erika, have a
Wait, so
good
you're not
night.
going to listen to
I
the Run
have
Explain
I have
segment?
college in
The
the
most,
morning.
the most important segment in this show now.
Oh my God,
Everybody
Run
Ron,
has
you
just
shouldn't
been
have
explain.
done
talking.
that
Bumi.
thing. I'm so
Sense has
Run
not
sorry.
come
explain.
into
Go
the
ahead.
play.
Ron, is
Run
it possible
explain.
for you
Go
not to
ahead.
do your segment? Is it possible? Don't do
Okay.
segment. It's late.
I've not done
Ah,
anything now.
Ron
I've been
will
waiting
say
for you
so if
people
he
to talk.
doesn't do his segments.
It's late. You don't
I
have to
have to
do it.
wait. Enika, I'll make it short for Enika so that she can run. Okay? So just wait.
Hey.
You
You are all welcome to another segment of Ron Explains.
And Ifine, please send me all those weird statistics. Let me tell
When
you why it's
when I
wrong.
when I
Wait,
started, you stopped me. When I
wait.
started, you
If
stopped
I
me.
even
You
see
Bumi,
it,
just
I know it's wrong.
no. You don't
Bumi.
even have to. It's just a question
Sorry,
of
Uh,
I
random
don't
things
know.
I
Wait,
tell
I'm
you.
coming. Wait. Hold up.
Bumi, I
Stop
beg.
the praise. Wait. Stop the show first. Wait. Is it that two of you did not see the opening intro? Oh, you don't understand the rules. Okay, let's do it.
You are all welcome to another segment of Ron Explains.
Wahala.
Okay, so now that I'm back to give my own statement before Abby comes.
What
There are certain
video?
things. Just do you want me to repeat again, or you want me to continue?
Repeat
What
it.
was this?
Repeat it. I dare
So
you.
that
I dare you. Repeat it.
so there are certain things we need to put into perspective here. Now, every time we've discussed certain, let me first address the violence. Yes, a man is physically, the physiologies are different. A man is physically able to disable a
Kill a
female. A
woman with
male
his bare
is,
hands.
Bumi,
Sorry.
wait, let me put Bumi on mute. Let me put Bumi on mute. Okay. So, men are physically able to disable females, right? We all agree to that. But you see, when we discuss violence between men and women, typically violence between a man is a man using his bare hand or maybe employing any weapon or maybe like belt or a cane or a stick and hitting the woman or shoe, whatever it is, right? We see that happen all the time. But when a woman typically wants to go violent, it usually ends up in fatality, whereby all she has to do is to go to the kitchen, pick up a knife or scissors. That's it. It's gone. It's dead. So when we are trying to select who is dying, I'm not saying that they are equal violence count, right? I don't want to say they are equal violence count, but I'm trying to point out that women don't necessarily have to tight their fists to harden their fists to punch. A woman will not punch, she will not slap. She will go for the next available weapon to defend herself. And if it goes tips slightly above the edge, that man is going to die. There's nothing that is going to save him. He will die. No, if somebody is stabbed in the neck or in the stomach with a knife, he's going to die. There's no two ways about it. And this is why at the end of the show, the message I want to give out is, please, women, men, don't hit anybody, please. I understand that men are stronger, but please, women don't raise mothers, don't raise daughters that are going to be slapping men. And men, stay on default. Do not touch women. I that am speaking, I've never ever hit my wife. I wish my wife can come and tell you. I have never, ever, ever, ever touched my wife. So it's a no. It's something I will never ever encourage. I will never endorse. It doesn't matter how close you are to me. No, especially now that I even have daughter self, which brings it to my perspective that no man should hit any woman.
So if you didn't
And
have
at the
daughters,
same I said especially is an emphasis. I said before I start having the daughters, I didn't even beat my wife. So now after I can't get there, I
okay,
can't
you are
beat her.
talking specifically about your wife. Did you hit another woman?
No,
So just say I didn't hit women. Because when you say your wife, it
no,
seems
I'm
as if you
bringing
hit
it
somebody else
close.
before.
Domestic violence is domestic, now it's in your house. I don't hit any woman.
So you
Any
don't know that
woman.
you don't know there's DV in relationships, Abby.
No. Before I got married, if you give me a headache, you're not coming back to my house. It was that simple. I didn't have time for.
Ron,
I didn't even
you
give
but
room for
you hit me
violence.
that time. Now you hit me with your words.
I'm
Mm.
coming. Now
Abby,
let's go to financial let's go to financial let's go to financial abuse, right? Again, I like using myself as an example so that I don't uh, push myself out to be a hypocrite. I wish I could wake my wife up to tell you that what has caused our most serious quarrel in the house. You won't believe it. The most serious fight we have is that, Madam, I don't want you spending your money in this house. Keep your money to yourself. And she'll be like, I want to be part of this family. I want to contribute. I said, I don't care about your feelings and your part of family. I got this. Do what you want to do with your money. And this is me being a man, right? I,
Being
it's
a
you worked
shoplift.
hard for your money. Hey God, you worked hard for your money. How you want to do with your money should be at your own discretion. I don't need you telling people that, oh, Ron took this. No. If I'm short and you come to me and you say, I see that you're not going to meet up at so time, I will accept it. But I'm not going to control your finances. I'm controlling how I'm running my home, the finances in the home. So now, in South Africa, there is a law too for financial. If you go to police station, you see it there. Verbal abuse, physical
Wait, did you
assault.
just say that you're controlling her? You run. What did you say just
He
now?
said he's controlling
You
his
see,
home. The
you
finances in
see,
his
you like
home.
to hear you like to hear the bad things about
I'm
Ron.
just
You've
making
never ever
sure.
heard any good thing. You don't want to hear any good thing about Ron. Everything is negative, negative, minus, minus. You don't want to say that Ron is a gentleman. Ron is a good man. You must always find way. If he's not condescending, if he's that I'm killing women, I'm misogynist.
I
Can't you just
agree
give
with you
Ron a
when you're
break?
right. But I
Give
agree with
Ron
you
a
when you're
break.
right. But if you're wrong, you're wrong.
I'm not giving Ron a break.
Give Ron a break.
I am breaking Ron.
Uh, You want to kill
No,
Ron? I
I'm
don't know
not.
what Ron has done to be deserving all these attacks.
But
All
isn't
these
there something a bit demeaning about you not letting your wife feel like she's contributing to running the home? Maybe she just wants to feel
no,
like
no, no, no,
maybe
no.
she wants to feel like a partner.
Mm-mm-mm.
I'm asking it as a
See,
question. My own belief with
okay,
marriage is do
now
what works for you.
this
But
is
if
the
she's
He's
thing.
an
saying she
Igbo
wants
This
to
man.
is the thing.
contribute,
Bumi,
Agreed. Now,
he's an
bear in
Igbo
go on,
mind
man.
I'm
that
listening.
uh,
Oh,
He's an Igbo
you need
man.
to
He did not say
understand.
that she should not
Yeah,
Igbo man
contribute
don't
to.
listen to their wives.
no,
No,
no, no, no,
listen,
no,
he did
no.
not say he should not contribute. That he doesn't want her spending her money on things that he
In
can
the,
provide.
I
Let her have
understood
her
him,
money
but
to do with her money
she
what she
said
wants
she
to do.
wants to feel like part of the family.
Then she can
This is
do
what I'm
it.
trying to
Husband
say.
can
So
say he spends money
she
on her.
can. She can, but she must not interrupt my budgetary plans. Once I've secured 100 rands, and this is what I'm doing with 100 rands is South African money, by the way. Once I've secured that, this is what I'm doing with it, I'm going to execute it to the last penny, right? Because I am providing for it. Now, this does not make her a slave in my household. She can do whatever she likes with her money. That's her
but
money.
what if she feels that way? That's what I'm trying to ask you. Like some
She
people
should
are
not include
weird.
it inside.
You might
No problem. She should buy me a nice. She should buy me a nice pair of suits or a nice socks or whatever that is nice that she knows that I like. I will
but
appreciate it.
that's
I will accept
different
it.
from feeling like somebody is maybe she doesn't want to feel like a kept woman. She doesn't want somebody to feel like be it's me that is putting a roof over your head.
She's an
Please, I
accountant.
want
She
to feel
has
like
a
a kept
job. She's
woman.
doing well.
I want someone to pay for the roof over my head because where do I
And
find
I
it?
she's
know,
doing
me
very
too.
well.
That's what I'm saying. And that's it's whatever works for you. But the fact that she said with it's Ron's
Ron,
own
Ron,
words, though,
Ron, let me,
that she said,
Ron, let me,
I
let me,
want to
let me,
contribute. I want to feel
let
like
me,
part of the
Ron,
family.
Ron,
Okay, do you
let
want to
me
hear
take
the
it.
historical
Ron,
reason why I
Ron,
can't?
hold on. Ron, hold on. Let me take away this anger from you small. But let me read you something. Worldwide, women aged 25 to 34 have had an average of 9 years, 9.09 years of schooling, and men have had 10.21. And this is based on health data estimates from 188 countries. He said, as always, there is uncertainty in this kind of estimate, but there's no reason to assume that the difference between genders is nearly as large as what people think. And this is
Okay,
within those 30
so
years. So
no,
anybody
I
within
know. That's
25
why you
to
remember I
34
pointed out
have
30
always gone
years.
to school the same time.
I actually said 30 years when I was giving that statistics. I said 30 years. I was specific. Now, Bubi, historically, where I come from, I don't know if you know Alaba, all these Onitsha, all these markets with Igbo men. Where's Bumi?
Always pulling women's clothes and trying to make them. But
Uh-huh. Where's Bumi? Bumi, wait, let Bumi come back. She needs to hear this. It's very important.
On me, I'm going though. So I will.
Wait, wait,
it's
don't go
part of
anywhere. After you finish snacking. After you just finish snacking.
Yeah, I need to go on. I need to do my night rituals and then go to bed.
Oh, wait, I just want Bumi to. Bumi is back.
Yeah, I have to make
Let me
my
put
master.
Bumi
And
back.
I'm going for lectures early in the morning.
Wait, let me explain it to Bumi. So, Bumi, so you see all these Igbo men in the market, spare part shops, chemical shop, and all that. Guess what?
Yeah.
Hang around them till lunchtime and see the kind of cars their wives pull up with. Like, you see this guy in 10 by 10, 10 by 10 feet cubicle, struggling, sweating inside, no AC and everything. Then his wife comes up with a Lexus Jeep or Range Rover. On his seafood we have cooked. Do you want it? Okay, thank you. And the children are back from school. The Igbo man's sign of wealth is his wife. If your wife looks like shit, you ain't shit. That's the Igbo law. Like, if you say you have money, the only way people can believe you is to see your wife and your children. And if your wife and children don't represent that wealth you claim you have, then you are nobody. Enuka, please, am I lying?
No
No,
lies.
I believe you have heard of this as well, and
Do you
I think
understand?
it's wonderful.
So
Except if
that,
she doesn't want that, which is
No,
my
Bumi.
point. If she
That
does
is
being
why
provided, like you don't have to. If she doesn't
Bumi,
really mean it.
Bumi,
my ancestors will
Bumi,
swear for me,
Eh?
Steph, if I do
Bumi.
otherwise.
Believe you me, that he's saying this doesn't mean that, like he said, when he's short, she will give and he will accept. But it is his duty as a man to provide. That is how he
Right.
views it. If she wants to contribute, my opinion in this kind of matters is the woman should save. She should save what she wants to contribute for something that is of a greater value. And then when she
Important.
can get him on board and they will do it together. But I will never, me, stop a man from doing what he wants to do. Please go ahead and do it. I cannot. I used to joke with a friend of mine that even my husband, he's very weak. Says, "Oh, I don't want to go to work." I'll say, "Oh, Jimo, oh, Ibali, go. You've done very well." And I'll be packing his bag and be sending him off to work. Because as an Igbo woman, I will not tell you that you cannot go to work. You will go to work before it becomes a habit. Today you will not go. Tomorrow you will not go. Next week it's that
Now,
your leg is paining you. You will go to work with that pain.
Buri, do you know why?
So
Let me tell you the truth.
yes,
Let me
Bumi,
tell you the
yes.
flip side. Buri, Buri, let me tell you the flip side. You know that the worst thing that can happen to a man is to owe your wife money. Like you borrow
You
money from
won't
your wife
sleep.
and you
To
owe
owe
your
your
wife
wife
money.
money.
Money. Oh God. God. And if I talk,
Yes.
my wife needs to jump inside my room, come beat me now. So, but just know that the worst thing a man, you can owe your landlord, you can owe your bank. Never, ever, any man that's watching this thing, rule number one for a man who wants to be taken serious in his home. Never, if you borrow money for your wife,
But
pay
let me ask
immediately
you,
before
Ron,
the
if she's
day.
an accountant and she's earning good money, won't you people get further
Mhm.
if you are, putting it together and building together rather than that she spends 500
That's what
on
Enuka is saying. On the rainy day, and that money is required, and she tenders it, I will consider and
Huh?
review the way she tenders it. I want to know whether it's borrow money or it's helping family money or it's money that she's giving from love. We have to evaluate what that money is for. Once I see that it's love money, love that I love you, that you've done so well for me, take this one. I will collect it, kiss her, take her to the room, we'll have a nice time. But if it's borrow money, I
So
need to check the.
basically, you will pay her kindness with sex. Child.
So you
No, no,
won't
no,
give
no,
her a
no,
nice
no,
time
no,
unless she's borrowing you money.
no, no, no. If she's giving me love money, I'll do nice things. But if it is borrow
God,
rate,
God.
bank rate,
Oga,
I'll pay
Ogaron,
her. I'll put-
Ogaron, I also tell you, Minister, off the mic, Minister. Waiting, I waiting for
Yo,
you.
God is about to put himself inside
No, but
problem.
no,
but
no.
Ron,
See,
speaking to what you were saying, just a second. Speaking to what you were saying, somebody called my attention this week to something and asked me that do I think if we tell women that wear hijab to stop wearing hijab, that they would actually stop? That did we
no, they
ever
won't.
consider that most of them love wearing it?
No, I found out that they won't. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, Bubi, if the borrowing of money is lending official borrowing, say I'm just borrowing because I need this later, I'll first have to calculate the interest rates of our borrowing with that of the bank and see how. But technically, even after you pay the money, you still be paying interest rate for the rest of your life because at the end of the day, that money no they ever end.
I've told
So
you
you
this
see
thing,
why it's not.
Minister, off the mic. You
That
cannot
money
take
no
What?
dey end.
money. Minister, off the mic. You can't pay
Enuka
that money.
understands what I'm saying.
You pay
Enuka
money.
gets the gist.
You
That's why
pay
she's
money.
laughing.
How are you paying it?
Why?
Which interest
Why
rate do you
did
use
I
to
not
start
go and marry
calculating
an
it?
Igbo man now? Oh,
What do you say, Bumi?
No,
such a mistake.
sorry,
I thought I heard
Bumi, you
someone say
Why
said
I'm
did
not
I
what?
going
go
to
and
marry an
marry an
Igbo man
Igbo
now.
man?
Ah,
You're going to get married
they're
one.
not.
It's
And
too
these
late.
are
I'm
the,
too hard now.
all these things are enshrined in Igbo culture. It's not like we grew up knowing it. It's not as if somebody sat us down was
But some
tutoring us.
people fail,
Yes, we
though.
grew up.
Some people do
Eh?
That is
anyhow.
why
Oh.
I'm marrying an
No,
Igbo
Yeah.
people do
man.
They're
anyhow.
mad
People
My
people
do
now.
cousin,
anyhow.
see,
They're mad
I have
people.
a friend whose husband, Igbo man,
But
they
that's
were
her
living in
routine.
America. He wasn't doing anything. This man now went on to, like, he was a doctor in Nigeria. I don't know what he did. He didn't pass any of his exams. Anyway, long story short, she works, she has a good enough job. On her 40th birthday, for example, the girl went on a trip with her friends, or she had been planning a trip with her friends. He knew about it. A day before she left, he told her he didn't give her permission to go. She ignored him. And you see, this is something else that is funny to me. You are giving me permission on how to spend my money. But okay, story for another day. By the time she came back, he had crashed her car and done all sorts of things. Anyway, they now got separated, led to a divorce. And this man went to court and insisted on alimony. This girl was paying him. She didn't say anything. She has 2 children. She didn't say anything. Then one day she came to Nigeria and she mentioned it to my dad. My father called somebody that he knew that was related to the guy. I said, I didn't know that this girl married a woman. I didn't know your brother was a woman. That was the end of that alimony payment because it became Umunna's story. As in,
Of course,
hey, you're
no.
taking money from a woman. After she's
Mm-hmm.
paying your children. Hey, but you know, that kind of embarrassment is
Abomination.
really good. It's really, really good because some men needed to stay on the straight and narrow. As an Igbo man, it's almost a sin that a woman trains your child for you.
Okay, it's not
A
just a
woman is
sin.
paying your
It is
children's
the
school fees. It's a sin.
act.
It shouldn't
They are
be
not
The
heard
even
of.
qualified. They are not
okay,
Yeah.
even
but
qualified to.
there are 3 questions an Igbo man will ask you if you say you want to marry his daughter. He'll ask you, "Who are you?" That means, do you know where you are from? What do you do? And then, how are you going to take care of her? If you cannot answer any of
It's
those 3,
simple.
what are you coming here to come and do? What are you telling him?
Simple.
So you cannot come and tell. I can't even go and meet my wife's father and be telling him that I had a job. The job, God, I
No.
lost the job, and God will help us. Are you mad?
Yeah, are you normal? What kind of stupid talk is that? And this
That
is
then,
Bumi. This is African culture. This is African culture.
I
Pure
don't know if it's
African
African
culture.
culture. I can only talk about Igbos. You
No,
need to
I'm
stop
saying
thinking
Igbos
that
are
all
Africans.
Africans. That is
Yorubas are not
no.
like that too. I don't know
Thank
African
No,
you.
people
culture.
say I'm saying this system is an
Yoruba men are
African culture that
very
should be.
happy to live on their wives. Some of them are very shameless.
No, I
Very
said
I
this
have
shameless.
a
is an
friend who knows
African
It's a
culture that
double-edged
has been
sword.
uncle.
adopted.
I think Yorubas are less sexist, but the flip side is that they can also very happily relegate on their natural role. They
Never.
won't even feel any sense of shame.
So that tomorrow when they're having a village meeting and you talk, they'll say, "Come on, will you shut up there? How much did you bring when they buried your father?" And your eye will clear.
I will clear one
Igbo men are
time.
not like that.
You don't even have to tell anything. They'll tell you when I see know you that your wife paid for your union dues. Hey, just
Hi!
sit down your heart.
Oh my God! I love you
Igbo men
people's
are rude
culture,
though.
though.
Igbo people are rude. Okay,
Igbo
wait,
people
let
are
me.
rude.
Okay, sorry. If you are watching, please like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube and like on Facebook. We've exceeded our 3 hour mark, even though we were
Abi,
supposed to
everything you
stop at
people
the
are
four.
saying is not going to stop me from chasing after my Chukudi lover. I am going to end up with an Igbo man, whether you people like it or not.
Oh
Fear,
my! That must
fear,
be why my friend
fear.
is
You
I
can
am
texting me,
say,
tired
saying
of
she's looking for a
working. I
sugar
am
you
daddy.
tired
can say it as fear
of
to say what is
Honestly, I
this
want
fear?
baby
Where is
girl
this
life.
coming
Fuck
from?
this shit.
I am tired of this adult like this adulthood na scam. Oh. I want baby girl lifestyle.
Okay,
I'm due
Abby
for
say
a
goodbye
soft
so I
life.
can end this one. Abby say goodbye.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I'm sure you've had a wonderful time listening to all the pros and the cons about, how domestic violence affects both women and men. And if you still have, your own opinion and you want to put it down, please, by all means, do that. We really appreciate it. And of course, don't forget to, subscribe to like and share and comment. Of course, we will really appreciate that. Sorry again, as I said, I know I put myself in shadow. I'm not really looking good, but just accept me as I am. But till we do this again, same time, same place, I want to say big massive shout out to DJ Wiki Wiki, and that is Ron Moye, and then to Abby Fash, to Bumitella, to Enuka, to Ifeanyi, to Candy, and our big love and kisses to Lincoln. Hope you get better. And then to all the people who have been on the comments, to Django Fett, to Cheryl Torres, Onaye Ewe Oya, who called Christine Ifeanyi, which I will always be calling you now, Francis Monye, yes, and yeah, to Francis Monye, and to every other person who's been listening to us and tuning in. Thank you so much. Until we do this again, same time, same place. Take care and God bless.